that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small rooms into launchpad lights.
We created a live version of the podcast. So I wanted to add live music and stand-up comedy to it.
Yeah.
And so it's like a night that you don't know who's going to come. You don't know who you're talking to, right? And so, and you don't know who I'm going to interview that night. So you could be sitting next to you all night and learn, hey, this is Ron, my buddy, and you're really cool, and you connect with people, all this stuff. And then later on that night, I'm interviewing you, and you're like, oh man, that's my buddy Ron. You know, so it's a really cool.
Yeah, you've done kind of a mix of what I was telling somebody years ago about that. At a comedy show, like kind of like a Kill Tony, you know that show?
Yeah.
But for inspirational speakers, what can they get up, grab the audience, do that kind of thing, and have it? But you're doing it.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So it's fun, man.
Love that concept.
I mean, I tell you, 6 years in the making.
Wow.
6 years for you. So we played pool together. I can't believe that's been 6 years ago. But this was when you were telling me, this was very early on with the invention, with the shoes.
Yes. Okay.
Very early on.
Yeah.
How long have you had that?
The construction has been around quite a while, actually, 23 years.
Okay. The construction has, but the shoes, the insoles. When did you do that?
Probably about 6 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
So it was right. I mean, it was right in the inception.
Yeah.
You know, part of it. How'd you get into construction in the first place?
13 years old. My uncle got me into it.
Mm-hmm.
And weekends, summers, things like that. And had a good time. You're outside, you're working, and everything's at a competitive nature. Like everything's piecework back then, so you go as fast as you can. So it felt like a camaraderie on the job with the guys. And that's how I got in.
It seems like what I've noticed over time is that with true like wealth building, I always find a couple of connection points. 1, real estate. 2, construction. Or 3, real estate and construction.
Yeah.
Right? Did you notice? Did that part register as a young kid?
In a way that all my friends are going to college, getting a degree, things like that. And I'm working construction at 13. Okay. So I could make more money than they could going to college. At least their first years, couple years, 4 years out, I'm thinking, well, they're still only going to make this much, and I'm making this now. And I enjoyed it. And when you have, a little ADHD, I couldn't sit in a room very long and have to listen to long things. So when you're building something, you're on the job for a short time, a couple months, next job, something brand new, something new. And you're creating something new all the time. And you have to figure something out, a puzzle, set of plans, and different direction. And you're constantly being challenged with the creative part of your brain.
When did you realize the focal point? Because there's construction and then there's Ron Blackburn construction. And I know it's not there. You're going to be very humble on I'm not going to be humble with you at all today. But there's levels to it. There's things that, the projects that you do are not run of the mill kind of things. Is that the way that it started? Did you have a focus that way? Or was that something that, I've heard it before where sometimes it gets oversimplified where a person will say, if you work the same for $1 as you do for 100. And I'm like, it's oversimplification. But there are targets. There are places where when you focus on something, it can bring a different type of reward. And literally you're doing a very similar amount of work. Was that something that registered to you early?
I would think what registered early was the fact of the miscommunication in that industry. There's just a lack of trust. Contractors were worse than car mechanics, and just bringing that trust of authenticity and transparency, of telling people what you're going to build, and building the trust on both sides. Not that you're trying to gain their trust, but you need to trust them as well, because building something like a home is like a marriage going into it. There's a lot of commitment, and if you don't trust out of the gate, then it's not going to work. So just bringing that understanding is what I wanted to bring to that industry, which has transpired to every industry. Seems to be lacking that connection of, hey, let me just show you why this works, and the trust.
I think, especially in your industry, the construction industry, and dealing with it, because we dealt with it a lot in commercial. Like, in commercial real estate, and we had a joke, and I'll say this to my friends, and they all get mad at me, and they always say the exact same thing. So have a project going. Like my buddy, he was having his backyard done, and he said, can you pray for this? And we did. We prayed for it, Ron. But I also said, it's going to take twice as long and cost twice as much. And he said, you don't know my contractor. And I said, and I just laughed, and I was like, I hear this all the time. And I said, honestly, like if you have the expectation of twice as long, twice as much, when it comes in 40% over budget, you still got a deal because you're 60% under what you thought it was going to be. Mm-hmm. And this has been a thought process, almost a stigma, right? A stigma in that industry. Why do you think that is? And, I don't think it's all that way. It's a stereotype. And I've been very fortunate with people working working with them in the industry and things like that. And we actually had one that delivered 3 weeks early. But when you go to the trust part, I'd never thought about you actually trusting the client. I always thought it was the other way.
No, it's anything big, right? In any relationship, it's got to be both sides. And that's got to happen, because you going in, if you're going to get the job, but they're hesitant and they don't really trust you, but you go, well, I need this job, I'm going to get the job anyways. They're never easy jobs. So yeah, it's imperative, I think. When
I say that, the twice as long, twice as much, in any industry, I think if a person's honest, they know those stereotypes about their own industry. Mm-hmm. Is that something that, because you're not that guy. You're not a twice as long, twice as much guy. Are people in the industry aware of that?
Yeah, I think so. And when you're getting into the business, young people into the business, you're going to take every job you can get, and you're going to say, yes, I can do this, whether you can or not, myself included. And that's how you learned. But unfortunately, it doesn't bring the trust on both sides, and then you'll learn on somebody else's job. Hopefully you work that out. But if you can be transparent and say, look, I've never done this before, but I know a guy, he can walk me through the process. Here's exactly what the cost of the materials and the labors. Here's what I'm anticipating bad. Do you want to go for it? That's a different conversation.
How did you learn from going from 13 years old working in it? So you're doing the labor, you're getting an assignment, you go do the assignment, you come back, right? To maybe having, working with someone else, right? Working with someone else, and you guys work as a team. So it's not that person telling you that you have to go, giving you the assignment. You guys work together. And then to the point where you then have a team. You just talked about a project that you're going to go and see after we're done here. Did you see that clearly? And who taught you those kind of?
Well, I was 13 at the time. Yeah. So it was just fun. Piecework was like a game. You get literally paid for the fruit of whatever you accomplish. And it was broken down to every little thing. If you're putting a hold-down bolt on a post, for instance, there's 3 bolts in that post. You might have 10 of them in the house, so it's 20 bolts times 3, 60 bolts. You get paid $1 a bolt. So you got to think of the most efficient way to do it, and you spread your bolts out, and this and that, and you may learn from other people, but you learn tricks, and whatever you get done is what you're going to get paid for. So that helped a lot, and it's hard. We don't have that today. Everything's by the hour, but you don't get paid directly for what you got. So when they see you excel at something, they just gave me a bunch of guys. Here's bring as many kids as you want. We'll pay them $5 an hour. We'll pay you 10 to manage them, but get this much done. So the management just became of just a matter of figuring out how I can make the most and have the most fun and be the most efficient.
Where'd you learn the business side of it? Because there's craftsmen, there's people who are great at what they do. It doesn't always translate to business, and especially when it comes to, I remember when there was initials that were attached to business, and there was things like EBITDA, or there was things like, whether it be initials or, top line revenue, bottom line revenue, profit margins, these things like that. That's not something that, while you're screwing in the bolt or you're learning and mastering your craft, that most people are letting you in on. Although it's the thing that when a person goes to start a business, it's the thing that kills the business quicker than them actually being good at their craft.
Yeah. I don't know. I think just school of hard knocks. I'd make enough money to buy more tools so I can do more jobs. And that was it. There was no big thought process along the way.
Was there any times, or whether it be mistakes? I found I made a mistake in business early on where I did a partnership where my brother told me I shouldn't be doing the partnership. But I learned about partnerships during that time. Now, it was a great lesson. It was an expensive lesson. It not only expensive in time, but expensive in money. Were there things along the line and, that gave you kind of lessons as far as like, whether it be about business or the construction itself?
Yeah, too many to count. I mean, we all have those.
What
right?
was the first one?
Sorry.
You could take it if you want.
Yeah?
Do you want to take it? Do you need to?
It's one of the guys on the job.
Do it. Take it. You should just put them on speaker.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up?
How's it going?
Good. Where did you left all the bolts?
The bolts for the CBs on the bottom,
Yeah.
they're in a box right by the shed. Kenny happened to have a box of them that he already ordered.
By
they're-
the shed? Where we building the patio?
Yeah, where you're building the patio.
Inside, maybe?
I can't remember. He took them out and showed them to me. Maybe he set them on the lumber. They're somewhere around there. If not, Kenny should be at home.
Okay, I'll go ask him right now.
Okay. Thanks. Talk soon.
All right.
Bye.
The reason why I'm saying take the call is because this is the reality of it, right? So the reality of it is that we're sitting here. There is work being done through communication. Now, your words and your mind probably bring more revenue than your hands actually moving.
Get another call.
Yeah,
Sorry.
take it. This is the great thing, man. They just have to be on speaker.
Hey,
Okay, so the top of the beam, it's going to be 9 foot, correct? That's what I see in the plans?
correct.
Okay, top of the beam, 9 foot. Okay.
Okay. Talk to you soon.
That's it. I think all
Bye
right.
bye.
So back in the day, it used to be, we'll probably set that, if it's on vibrate, it'll vibrate through the stuff. So even if you just set it on your lap or whatever it is,
How about the floor?
you can, yeah. But just just so you could see it.
Yeah.
So this is amazing because again, like the guy asked 9 foot, you let him know 9 foot. There was a day where you were the guy calling,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Right.
You know what I mean?
And this was unusual because these plans were over-designed for the homeowner.
Okay.
They didn't want to spend that much money. We looked at it, we revalued, designed it. I've never had to do this before, but I actually had to leave the engineer, go to another engineer, redesign it, submit it, build it while it's in the design submission phase now to the new design with the new engineering calc. So we'll end up saving them over $18,000. And so they're going off a new set of plans we just generated, just submitted. So he's got a brand new one and he's got the approved one. So that was just normally a question we wouldn't have to answer, but we're doing now.
So a person going into, like, say, a remodel, they're going into a remodel. What would be, if you could prime the client to understand, couple of things to make your job easier when you went into it, what would those things be?
Everything I notice and everything I don't notice, and the potential costs on both ends.
Tell me more.
Well, what would your question be?
So
Let's see.
if I was remodeling, I'm going to remodel my kitchen.
Right.
What's the best way for me to be prepped, like as a client, that makes your job easy? So, because a lot of times people just be, they come in and they're like, oh, I want my kitchen done. It's so simple. You probably hear this all the time. It's real easy, Ron. No big deal at all. We just need to move the stove, move the fridge, move this wall, and, open this thing up a little bit. No big deal. Seen it on TV before. And so it shouldn't be that big a deal. Should it, Ron? If you could get every person that's going to give you those, you're smiling as I say that because you probably hear these kind of things where a person will, especially when I say overeducated, but in today's society, we're watching YouTube, we're watching TV shows that make it seem like, you know what? I called up Ron. I had this idea. the kitchen was there, and within 2 days, he already had the plans done. He had the thing done, and everything worked exactly the way that it should. And when we opened up the walls, we didn't notice anything at all. It was just perfect.
Well, I would need to know a couple things first. First, I'd want to build trust. Or are you just wanting one of the lowest of 3 bids, which is a whole different conversation. And that's why earlier you said, how do contractors come in and do that? Well, I can build you a kitchen for $10,000 or $1 million, and there's everything in between. So I'd want to know, which I wouldn't get till after trust, is what is your true budget? What do you want to spend on this? What don't you want to spend on this? And go from there. And then I'd break it right down. I mean, some of my good friends, they want a painter. They don't want a painter, they want an applicator, because I can get somebody in that could just put paint on the wall, and I'll tell you everything good, bad, or indifferent about them. And I'll tell you the good guys and all the reasons why. I'm just going to share the data with you, and we're going to make the decision together. And that way expectations are real. So
does it start with cost, then go to quality, and then come to the timeline? Would you say it would be in that order?
You've heard the term, there's 3 things, good, fast, and cheap, and you get to pick 2. That kind of runs it.
I haven't heard that one.
Okay, well, if you want to build a kitchen, I can get it for you good and fast, but it won't be cheap. I can get you it fast and cheap, but it might not be very good. We're going to bring those guys that aren't as good as fast and as cheap.
Okay.
What else is left? Cheap and good.
Can it be cheap and good?
But it won't be fast.
Oh.
Bring them in, the good guys, when we can. Get it done. Won't be fast. And it always works that way.
Wow. So how do you go from the construction side to writing a book? This was funny because I was looking at the timeline, right? Not the timeline, but I'm looking at it, and it's construction, author, inventor, and now modalities that we're dealing with, right? So take me from, because most people don't go, they become the craftsman, then they hopefully move into a realm of owning the business like yourself. The book part, after you wrote a book, did you find that every single person that you talked to was like, I'm writing a book too? And you said, oh, wow, when does it come out? And they're like, oh, I haven't written anything. I've just been thinking about it.
So many people. And because we've done one, you want to encourage people. I'm constantly telling people, let me help you. Let's do this. It'll be fun. But no, it's rare to get people that want to actually do it.
Why'd you want to write the book?
It felt like this antiquated building industry needed that book. Not for the homeowners, but for the industry. So they know, build trust first.
What if you wrote it for the consumer, for the person who's getting it, and to be able basically to create the perfect client that understood the good, the fast, and the cheap? And if you wrote a book based off of like that, it was targeted towards the person that was going to either rebuild or remodel, or they were going to build a home, what would that book say?
Well, I think inevitably this was the book halfway through because it translates to every relationship in our life as a result, which I didn't realize until I was writing it, that it's the foundation of everything. And that's why it translates to modalities and everything else, is that we're just building trust in a field that's lacking that trust.
Where'd you learn how to ask questions? Because when we played pool and we first started, we first became friends. I got introduced to you through our friend Greg. Hey, this is Ron. Well, Ron is like the international man of mystery. Walks in, has the cigar in his hand, the whole nine, walking all smooth. And then we start playing pool. And I don't think that you said but 10 words, but they were all questions. And I was the yapper the whole time. And you just kept asking questions. And I walked away. You didn't say much, but I walked away so connected. I felt we were connected, although it's taken me 6 years to get you on the damn podcast is what it is. But where'd you learn that part of it?
I think just genuine curiosity. You posed a question that you were deliberating, and I needed more data to help with that. And it's exciting to help people, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah. Growing up, were you always a curious kid?
Yeah.
Yeah?
A little too curious, I think.
Why is that?
Teachers, stop talking. Why are you asking so many questions? Fall in line. And I asked a lot of questions.
I think that's something that should be encouraged.
Yeah.
As much as possible.
Yeah. And at the time, I don't think they knew. Who knows what they know now? But controlling a whole room of kids with different personalities and ideas and things they want to do. That's got to be tough.
Yeah.
So that you just got to control them all, I guess.
What was the book journey for you? How, like, you had the idea. Did you do it in your ADHD style, or did you do it in a, I'm going into a construction site and I've got to lay the foundation. When you lay the foundation, then you do the walls and then you do the roof. Would that be, I mean, that's oversimplified.
True, but you plan for the roof and the walls during foundation.
You do.
Oh yeah.
You don't already have the plan once
Well, you draw the plan first, but
Draw
the
the plan.
plan for the concrete factors in all of that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Including right down to, you may have a set of plans and you're going to pour concrete. You can't set your hardware bolts for the framing until you have the approved set of windows you're going to buy, which is almost never the same on the plans, with the exact rough openings so the posts can be right there, bolts right in the right spot. So that's all done in real time after you get that, days before the concrete's poured, in many cases.
So did you write the book that way? Did you pour the foundation, because you have the foundation of building trust. That's what you were doing in your industry. You have to do it or else you don't have a business at all.
Yeah, this book is the foundation, I think, for the industry and for trust and going into anything. It's to ask those questions you're afraid of. Even for homeowners, they really don't want to know what it's going to cost sometimes. They just want to hear what you're going to say. And it feels like some contractors, if they don't say that number, they're not going to get the job. And it's just a very unfortunate miscommunication right out of the gate.
Yeah. So when you were writing it, when you're sitting down and you're doing the physical writing, did you?
I'm sorry.
Did you lay the foundation? Did you lay the foundation and say, "Hey, I want this to be about building trust," or did you start writing and then say, "Okay, this was something"? Like this morning, I was writing, and the thing that came to my head right away. So I got to spend some alone time this morning, and the phrase "I'm gonna be where I'm at," but it has to have like little attitude. I'm gonna be where I'm at. Now that came from my wife. And my wife, anytime her dad or her mom would ask her when she was growing up as a adult or as a teenager, where are you gonna be? She would be like, I'm gonna be where I'm at. But what it taught me was to be present.
I was just going to say, yeah.
Right?
Good message.
Right? And so I ran through, and when I wrote that out, that was just the very first thing that came to my head. And it was wild because, like you were saying, that poured the foundation, but I had to let it dry a little bit. So as I was writing, it was like, oh, wow, here it comes. And then I was able to add the window because it just came in at that time. And then I was able to add I had to add the wall before the window, but then add the roof. And by the time that I got done, I realized that it was about, respecting the past, accepting the future, and residing right here in the present. But that came from, I'm gonna be where I'm at. So when you sat down to write, were you ADHD?
I wrote it the same way I would build a house, knowing my own limitations. So on my own jobs at that time, well before that, I realized when I'd get to the end of the job, the punch list, all the overwhelming little things, I couldn't deal with that. I had to be gone and let somebody much more patient who worked for me handle those things. I was good at the vision and creating it and getting the production and getting it done fast, exceeding people's expectations, but those little things I couldn't do. So writing the book, I knew those same problems would happen if I had to sit down and write with my own thoughts focused on one spot. So we found a great ghostwriter, Mike Moore and myself. I wrote the architecture of the book out in the chapters the way I thought they should be. And we just had I think it was a weekly call every morning at like 6 a.m., Mike and I. And in 9 months, we were finished.
Why did you choose Richard Dreyfuss to do the audiobook?
He was great. He chose me. I didn't choose him.
Really?
I had finished the book and was doing an audiobook with Mike Moore. And Mike Moore got his brother-in-law, and I want to thank him again for doing it, but he already recorded the book. And I was at Richard's house, and we were hanging out, and he was working on his book and together. And I told him what I was doing, and he said, "Well, why didn't you have me narrate it?" I said, "I didn't know you do that." And he says, "Well, I don't, but I'll do it for you." And I said, "Okay, that'll be great." And we went in the studio, and 4 days later we were done. And of course, he was wanting to change it along the way, and he would start reading things different. He goes, "That sounds better this way." I'm like, "Well, I can't deviate from the book yet." And so it was a lot of fun.
Did you do two versions? One where he just freestyled that way, and then one?
No, I didn't launch the other one. We called
Okay.
Mike's brother and thanked him and apologized. But
Well, I'm just talking about
Understood.
with Richard. Like, did you let him just in the studio? Did you let him just go and do
No,
his thing?
no,
I
I
thought
should
that
have.
would have been funny.
It would
You know what I
have,
mean? To
yeah.
have and then release the other of like, hey, this is the the Richard edited side of it.
Yeah, but
You know,
both of us, his ADHD and mine, I don't know when the project would ever get done, ever. It took us 4 days to do that one, which was a lot of fun, but we didn't have the time for that.
yeah. How did the book go? What like when you first came out with it? Because you were super excited about it. You're passionate about it. How did people respond to it right off the bat? Did they respond the way that you thought that they were going to respond?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was refreshing. And again, the book was, I feel, written as a byproduct. It wasn't something I was trying to do to sell things out there. You know, it's a nice business card if I hand it to people, and especially for a client, to let them know the page that we need to be on before we start. So,
How about the invention side? I mean, when you went, we were talking when we were playing pool. It's been you had already invented this, but it was you were working through it, and now I can't believe it's been 6 years since that time. Which I don't get a chance to spend as much time with you as I would like to.
I know, I was thinking it's fun that we get to hang out, and well, how do we do it? We're doing
Yeah.
it this way. That's great.
Well, it works out amazing. Tell me about the invention side, like because there's a lot of times where we go from, we have a concept, then it goes to idea, then it goes to execution, and most people don't make it past the execution because they stop on that. Some people don't even get past the concept to idea, right? I guess it would go concept, idea, then to plan, then to execution, and then bring it into fruition. But along those lines, a lot of times people get lost.
I agree, and I think I would be doing a disservice by describing how I did it before with the tools we have now with AI. I wrote a patent last month, and it took me 6 hours, $75. So, and you can have a patent application filed, non-provisional. It wasn't like that before, so it seems like
what was the
teaching somebody
process
how to
before?
read a sundial isn't really help. You know, for
Yeah, but
digital.
what was the process before? Like how long? Because you just said, how long did you say?
6 hours.
6 hours, $75. Patent filed.
Anybody can do that. Yeah.
Got it. 6 hours, $75. Okay, so give me the scenario before.
Oh, you call a patent attorney. I think the first patent I did was $3,500, much time in between, and that's just to get your non-provisional. Another $5,000 to $8,000 for your provisional a year later, and then 4 years later get your patent.
So you're talking 6, 7 years?
Probably 4 years with Sunright, but
Okay.
$10,000, $15,000.
$10,000,
And it was just
$15,000.
so prohibitive.
And now 6 hours, 75.
Yeah, if you really do your research and dive into your product, and which is even easier these days now, access to research and time is much shorter now.
What do you think freed up your time the most?
With
Because
AI?
well, now like even say here, you have the ability to be here. You made 2 phone calls. They were 2 different people. I saw it on your phone, right? They had 2 different.
The same guy.
Was it the same guy? It was? Okay. So, but you were able to accomplish, like he needed to know where one thing was, and then he needed to know a measurement. That was 45 seconds, whatever it was. When did you start to understand that freeing up your time was as important as it is?
I think back when I couldn't handle the punch list to finish a job. So the ability to be different things and do all the different domains I like to jump into and learn about is because I build that trust with somebody who can handle everything that happens out on the job. And he can for the most part. This was a kind of a special situation, but when you're busy, you almost have more time, right? Because you've got more people you can lean on to do more different things. But I've scaled construction down quite a bit, but I still got these amazing guys in these relationships that can handle that.
So 13-year-old Ron didn't jump into, 22-year-old Ron that's sitting across from me. What was the...
That's 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Almost.
But 13-year-old Ron, like what was the next step? Because I think a lot of times we'll jump from one to the other. Like we jump from, hey, I was doing construction at 13, bang, I'm doing 2 45-second calls and a project that's down the street, that's a major project, is being taken care of. What were some of the things in between? Take me to 17-year-old Ron.
Years ago, there was this variety show, and this guy would take these thin little sticks, 6 feet tall, and he would spin a plate on it. It would balance, and then he'd do another one, and then he'd do another one. He'd have about 6 or 7 of those going, and as they would slow down, he'd run over and give momentum to that plate and this plate, and he had all these plates spinning. And it feels like that's the way I've been my whole life since I was a kid. Even though I'm working on a business, and so many people say you should focus all your attention on that, it's difficult. So I'll jump into another business, like get another plate going. So construction, Ron at 13, had a lot of different things going. And I started a pool business at 17, cleaning and maintenance. I got my first commercial contract for the Radisson Hotel off the 57 freeway in Orange County. Big, huge hotel, and started doing commercial pools and this and that, building construction at the same time. Just wanted to do all that I can do, and just always enjoyed that.
What was the wildest thing that, as far as business-wise, that you did that didn't really have anything to do? Because the pool part of it still, I mean, I don't know that I'd consider it construction, but it's still in that realm. Did you stay inside the realm, or was there things that, that you did that were outside of it?
No, just an automated pool business where I could clean pools. If mostly as a kid, I'm 16, 17, walking around in flip-flops and a bathing suit and cleaning pools. And it was for my dad's company. Okay. And I was already working construction, so he was doing residential pools, and I was doing cleaning 75 pools a week, and it was all through Laguna Beach areas. So I got to see every vantage point of all these amazing homes, and it was really cool. I don't want to digress. Point being, I thought, well, I can hire somebody to do this. I don't need to be doing this. And I hired a pool guy and a maintenance guy. So I had that company going and just continued to work construction. So I like to find something, work it, optimize it, let somebody do it. And maybe it doesn't even need to get to this point where it's successful in the world standards, but just something where you learned a lot and you can automate something.
Where'd you learn the first one? I'm going to get you a drink too, by the way. Where'd you learn the first one as far as hiring it, right? So, hey, I can do it, or I can make 10.
Well, you're going to laugh. You're going to laugh at this.
I like that.
I think I was 8, and I learned how to remember macrameing and the pot hangers and those wall hangers. You're probably too young for this, but it was all. Yeah. So there was these owls that you would make at the swap meet, and they looked like an owl with a clock in the middle. Okay. Yeah. And then a little body and then a tail. And you could sell those at the swap meet for $22. But we could buy all the materials for probably $4 or $5. And I got so busy making these that I had to pay my mom $2 a tail to brush out the tails to keep up with the demand. So I thought, if I pay her to do this, I can get more done in faster time. That was the first time I thought of that.
How many owls did you sell?
I don't know. There's a couple hundred, but
really,
yeah, it was fun.
Were you always smart with your money?
I wouldn't say I'm smart now with my money, but I just like to jump into everything. And if I have money to find out about that, then I'll do that. Yeah. Which maybe is reckless, but entrepreneur, right? They say jump off the cliff and build your wings on the way down.
But what about from the financial side? Like my brother in our family is my brother Rob was responsible, right? So he was one level of responsible than my oldest brother, which is Guy. Super responsible. Not early, he was irresponsible, and then he became the most responsible. But if you gave it to me, it seriously burned a hole in my pocket. Like as a kid, like if we went to the fair, I got $3, I'm spending 10. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm getting in debt to the carnies. How were you as far as money management that way?
I would always reinvest in my other ideas.
Okay.
So I don't know if you call that responsible or not responsible. Like right now, I'm diving into testing these different modalities. There's no financial gain for me in that. It's mostly curiosity and letting the world know what's happening. Sometimes there is a pipeline to an end. Sometimes there isn't. If I was responsible, I'd be putting all my attention into construction and doing that and growing by the world's standards. But I enjoy all the different things and inventing. And by being responsible in one domain, maybe you're doing yourself and the world a disservice by you didn't jump into something else that you were just so curious about, even though you didn't know where it's going to go.
Where did the curiosity for the modalities come in?
I think back to trust again. I mean, we've got 5,000 years of testimonials. People don't trust it. I mean, they're going to go, I've got something serious. I need to see a doctor. Maybe you do, but I'm not going to trust this because I don't see the data. To me, it's a simple jump. They just need to see the data, build the trust. Seemingly.
What was the first step of trust for you? Because for so long, I mean, I was a huge, when I say huge, or was, I still am. When I was reading about JFK, I dove into it at one point. It was all I was reading about. And they were talking about during those times where they were utilizing, hallucinogenics, during that time, they were utilizing them, but then, then they get outlawed. They get, a black eye for everything. And a lot of times with wherever you get your information or whoever you get your information from is going to dictate on the way that you feel about that. So me growing up, I mean, I had a dad who, he wasn't using it for, modality sense. My pops was using it for, hey, we're having a party. We're getting after it. Now you're starting to see a little bit different. You're starting to see different utilizations. Now, during that time of JFK, it was mainly, what we would refer to as acid, PCP, things like that. But there's so many different things that are being used today. But did you go in skeptical?
Yeah, my parents were the same way. It was the root of all evil, any type of drugs whatsoever. I think modalities could have been attached to that in some way. And a lot of people, they would have thought, oh, that's bad. You don't know what you're doing. You're summing up something bad or something like that. But seeing the proof, I shouldn't say proof, seeing the data, seeing transformation was an easy flip for me.
Did you see the transformation in people who were close to you? Or did you see transformation in data as far as like, hey, we did this study, we saw this person, or did you, because I think a lot of times it becomes, once it becomes personal, say one of my buddies is working, he was one of the largest in the cannabis side. And he still is, his company, but he is like yourself where he got that one moving and then moved on, and him and his brother are now working with different type of mushrooms, gummies, different things like this. And one of his motivations was his dad was going through dementia. And so he started to see that once he started to treat his dad with these, he started to see positive. He started to see his dad be able to tell stories again, be able to come back. He saw his dad coming back to life. So his personal side, if you just looked at it from the outside, you would think, oh, well, he's just going down this rabbit hole because that's the new thing. But for him, it was about his dad. Was it personal for you?
To get into for plant medicine or healing in general, was it personal?
Either or.
What got me into, hey, there's something more going on here, period, was, do you remember Antoine from Secret Knock and Karma days? He was a healer.
Yes.
And I had sciatic pain that was intense for about 5 years, and you just worked around it. And he had these couple tools he called dolphin tools that did some microcurrent. But to answer your question, I lay down, 30 minutes later, it was gone, never came back. And I was like, what's going on here?
How long did he do it for?
30 minutes.
30 minutes, and then just gone.
Gone. And I saw him do that repeatedly with other people that were suicidal. I saw an elderly woman, broken rods in her back. Nobody wanted to touch it. Doctors came out smiling time after again. We shot footage of it back then. This was years ago, and that's what got me really interested in it.
How many years ago was this?
Maybe 15 years ago.
Really? So you started on that journey kind of like wondering, is there a different thought process besides just going traditional medicine?
Well, seeing real things happening. And
Yeah.
I'm like, as a builder, how can I measure this? And then Dr. Joe Dispenza was exciting and seeing the work he's doing, testing the modalities and coming back with some interesting things. And just started thinking, what else could do that? What could do it more faster? What's the minimum viable product? What one's working, what best combinations of what? And so that was kind of like what I was wondering and looking down and going down a rabbit hole. And that's where I ran into Julia, coincidentally. She had 30 modalities she's practicing, over 200 healers at her disposal. She was looking for someone to test her theory of multiple modalities, and I was looking to test it. And that's how we met.
Really?
Yeah, and 6 months later, we had a study, 2 studies, paper, preprint, all the data's out.
And so all of them, you went through the process.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the entire process, yeah.
What did you see? What did you see happen with you?
Oh, you mean that event?
No, when you guys, because you started going through the modalities yourself. Am I correct?
Yes, we were searching individual modalities,
Okay.
but then she has a retreat program, which she's done for a while, but she's convinced it's the multiple modalities all done simultaneously
Got it.
in a synergistic effect, but with like an order that she puts together. And the way she says is that sooner or later the body surrenders. Some people surrender to like breath work, hypnosis, or Reiki, or just meditation. But when you're done from 7 in the morning till 7 at night in an immersive atmosphere, she says sooner or later they crack. So when you surrender, that's that measurable transformation we wanted to find out. So we did before and after EEGs and have the data in real time.
What did you see? What was the things that stuck out to you when you guys did the data at the end? What were the things that were there's a green light for me to continue, working through it and getting excited about it? Because when you called me a while, like probably, I think it's been about a month. I think you either called me or texted me. I could feel it was an original text. I could feel the excitement of what you were doing. Like, I'm excited about this. You were passionate about it. You were obviously, and I love the fact that what you were talking about is, if it was just a financial play for you, you would just continue to build your business in construction. But that tells me a lot about what it is that you're doing, because it's not focused solely on the financial gain of it. It's because you want to make a difference in it. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's too exciting to not go after. I mean, we've had these testimonials for 5,000 years that have been compelling enough. Why not research that, show the data?
Was it a combination of the when you're talking about the breath work, the Reiki, things like that, and plant-based medicine?
We didn't do any plant-based medicine at all at this retreat. This was strictly just the modalities itself.
Really?
But it's all early data. Well, the first one's only 15 people, but across the average of the 15 people, it's appeared that each modality does its own kind of thing. Like meditation will shift a certain system in the body and over 8 weeks and move at a certain percentage. Same with breath work and different modalities. They all work on different systems in the body to calm us down or to bring us up or make us more cognitive or relax. This system moved all the modalities, all to a bigger significant change, much bigger, in 5 days, not in 8 weeks. So I'm just wondering what's going on there.
Yeah.
And then we did another study 3 months later in 4 days, same results. Pretty amazing. So we had to do proper oversight, get it all done, write the study, get a preprint out there, and it's out there now for people to see. And it is what it is, the data.
We're allowed to link. You sent me over the data.
Oh, yeah.
We're allowed to link that and put that in the bio too.
It's public, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd encourage people to take a look.
So, what was the things that stuck out to you? Like, there's things that will pique your interest, right?
One particular thing is the insomnia index, which would take, by the gold standard, maybe 10 to 13% change over 8 weeks. And don't quote me on that, but you can look it up. 5 days, they moved 50% on the sleep index, which is unheard of. So it deserves looking more into.
Okay.
Every one of those other percentages are their own amazing number in itself. The brain and the body seems to, under that immersive condition, and I'll tie this back to psilocybin in a minute, reorganize itself faster to where all systems are moving, not one or the other, but they're moving towards the organization. And when you think about psilocybin and ayahuasca and the psilocybin microdose that's becoming so popular, it reminds me of doing if you did breath work once a week or meditation to where, or even daily where it would move a little bit. But when you do an immersive hero's dose into it, the whole brain seems to reorganize with the early studies and PTSD and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's some similarities there, but it's early, but it's impressive.
How many modalities with the retreat are you guys working with?
I would say about 10.
Okay. And obviously there's a cadence to it, almost like I'm the king of bad comparisons.
Yeah.
But almost like if you take a Bikram yoga per se, he has, I believe it's 32 poses, and they're done in a certain sequence, right? And they're done for a certain amount of time, and they're done in a certain temperature with a certain humidity and a certain amount of repetition. And they're done, like if you do them out of order, you're not going to get the exact.
I couldn't agree more. And we should bring Julie on at some point, but the order was intuitive to her putting together this program. And it starts off with us basically, we're talking to the audience with all the scientists there and the practitioners, almost like you would prepare a placebo. So you fully understand what's about to happen.
Yeah.
Fear's gone, understand it, which could be encouraged as a way you're creating the placebo. But if we're creating a placebo and they're all benefiting from it, I don't know if that's a bad thing.
Makes sense.
Point being, that's where it starts from. And then they go through all these different stages throughout the week that she creates. And again, she can go more
Why
into
don't you
deep.
text her, and then we'll get her, and she can just call in, because I would love to be able to talk to her about it. You understand what I'm talking about the Bikram sequence too, because
I do.
One of my friends is really, really, really strong as far as she's a phenomenal Bikram teacher. And then she got mad at me because, I didn't have an hour and a half one day, right? And it takes an hour. You have to do 90 minutes. It's a 90-minute practice, 32 poses. I think each one of them is done 2 times. It's done in a certain sequence. And I called her and I said, today I didn't have 90 minutes. I just had 60 minutes. And she's like, and I didn't do all of the things, right?
Yeah.
And she was like, so you're not going to get all of the benefits. And I was like, yeah, but I feel good afterwards. And she said, that there's got to be, to get the optimum. She's like, that's a good thing that you're moving your body and things like that. But to be able to get the ultimate, you're going to have to be in the right temperature. You're going to have to take the amount of time. You're going to have to do the sequence, and you're going to have you can't do it out of order, or you're not going to get what was designed for it. Does that
makes perfect sense?
Okay.
And
does that relate?
It does, and I do hot yoga myself 3-4 days a week.
Okay.
And when you
notice that you didn't say Bikram yoga, you said hot yoga.
Correct.
Yes. So it's amazing because it's different.
It's different. It's its own special thing. What I noticed, though, and what you're saying, don't get out of it and put into it, is we create, during those heat shock, what are they called? Heat shock proteins that are created during those times of heat and stress. And the more you can push it every second past that, are creating more of those, which are beneficial biologically and are making a change in real time. So if you just did a little bit of it, like taking a small dose of plant medicine, or you pushed through that 90-minute all the way through and held every pose to its intensity, there's a big difference there, right?
Yeah. So when you first heard of it, you heard the studies, you were curious about it. Did you go through it yourself? Have you been through all of the modalities yourself in the sequence and then seen a difference with you personally?
I've done quite a bit of them. I've done all the modalities individually. When I was at the first event, I couldn't partake in the event because I was there.
You're putting it on.
Yeah, and it needs to be a complete surrender thing, and it's not passive like you're having it happen to you. You are part of it, and your only real part is to let go of what you're hanging on to.
What about people like us, right? So we're very, and all she has to do is she'll either click the link or there's a link there that I sent to you. She'll click that, and then it'll actually show up on our soundboard. So,
yeah, let me just tell her again.
With the ADHD person like you and I, Okay. I've never been diagnosed, but I'm a self-diagnosed myself.
Same
Like
here.
I got tons of initials around me. I probably got ADHD. I got ADD. I worked at KFC. All those things I've got them right around. So when I get into these kind of things, even Bikram, I remember the first time when I was going, I got into the second pose and I was like, man, I love Oreos. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just in my head. And then I'm thinking, in fourth grade, why did that girl say that to me?
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, like, man, when I get out of here, I got a great idea. I'm gonna write this thing down. And so through 90 minutes, I've already started 15 businesses. I'm about to call my friends. Do you go through this?
Oh yeah.
So when you go to meditate the first time, because meditation is a tough thing. Different people call it different things, but being able to sit and be able to focus or clear your mind, as they would say. With an ADHD person, to clear your mind is the same as me asking you to build me a $10 million home in 5 days. So how did you react to? Let's go to the meditation part first. How was that for you?
I started before I knew about Dr. Joe or any of those other people with a little app called, I think it was called Mindset.
Okay.
With a guy with a charming English accent.
Yeah.
And it was 5 minutes, I think, or maybe 10 minutes.
Okay.
And
Still a long time in our world. Am I correct? 5 or 10 minutes of you being silent and just having nothing in your brain. Does that happen often?
It does, but what you're doing right there, which was what I was doing, is you're assuming that the goal was to not have any thoughts. And the goal was to recognize that you are having thoughts. So the minute you go, Oreos, why am I thinking about Oreos? You passed. You acknowledged the thought and you moved on. And those acknowledgments in between get longer and longer and longer.
Okay. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, if you think about before ever meditating, the only challenge was to realize I'm just rambling in my head. And once you realize that, you go, oh, now I'm here, right?
How long do you meditate now for?
I don't have any regular time that I set aside to go sit down quietly.
Okay.
But you can get into that meditation feeling almost, just even doing anything, just driving.
Yeah.
So I do that often.
Where do you go when you're meditating? Do you go to a happy place? Like you think about like Happy Gilmore? Remember when he would go to his happy place? Did you ever see that movie?
I did, yeah.
Okay. Do you remember his happy place?
Uh-huh.
It was like the most random thing, but I connected with it. I laughed so hard when I watched that because his happy place that had all the random stuff in it, I was like, man, he's inside my head right now.
He
Like,
does, yeah.
Yeah. Where's your happy place?
I don't have a happy place other than I like to set the stage now. It's my own crazy little idea thing I've been working on.
What's your stage?
But it's I call it a 4-chord system with the feelings kind of being like notes.
Huh.
So I'll start with humility,
Okay.
that I'm just here. I'm a student.
Stay with me. We're gonna bring her right on.
Okay.
Keep on.
Secondly, I breathe into that for a few seconds, which is powerful in itself.
Hi guys, how are you?
Wild.
Good.
Is Julia's here with us right now? What up, Julia? I can't hear you. My headphone dropped off for a second, so I'm gonna drop on. Can you hear her?
Yeah.
You can. Isn't technology awesome?
Yeah, I can hear real clear.
Julia,
great.
where are you at?
I'm in Miami, Florida.
Miami, Florida. Good to hear you.
So we've been rambling
too.
around a bit, Julia, about a lot of different topics, but we were getting to like the procedure of how you put together these ideas and the different modalities for Quantum Peak. I talked a bit about our journey, but it'd be great, I think, if she picks up how we kind of met and then how you came into the 5-day retreats. But
Yeah,
whatever you think.
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been doing custom private on-demand retreats and experiences for almost a decade now. And we've seen a lot of transformation happen for people within the 5-day journeys. And so ultimately we came together as a team and we looked at the things that made the most impact and where we saw people sort of go on this roller coaster to bringing up all of their challenges and emotions that they're potentially not really conscious of or wanting to look at, up to the surface, and then being able to release it and transform. So we have about 30 different healing modalities, things like meditation, yoga, hypnotherapy, acupuncture, medical massage. And so we curate these experiences to ultimately help people transcend and transform potentially pain that they're feeling or challenges that they're experiencing in their day to day. And for the Quantum Peak, we sat down as a team essentially and figured out, what is the journey that we think will help people get from A to Z on any subject that they're wanting to work on. And yeah, when we did it, we found really incredible and profound results and experiences that happened for people.
That's amazing. Do you have us on speaker, by the way?
I don't. I've got you in my headphones
Okay,
at the
good.
moment.
Can you come out of your headphones and just onto your phone, because your headphones are cutting out a little bit, but your stuff is so amazing. I want to make sure that everyone's able to connect with you. So my question to you too. That's a lot better. My question to you. I'm echoing a little bit. You there? She'll come back here in a second.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. That's a lot better. Julia, do people have to be open to the hypnosis?
Really, you just have to have the desire. I think everyone really has some kind of a desire in their life experience, whether it be to attract more love, more peace, more ease. So yeah, you can come as you are, and we help you understand, what you're doing and how it works, and then we give you many opportunities to practice throughout the retreat experience. So as long as the desire is there, it's very powerful work.
What about the person that's a little skeptical on it? Because I know I've been in places where there's whether it be hypnosis or any of the modalities, and the person is open but not completely open. Does that block the person from experiencing it?
Personally, I'm one of those people, being that I work in the healing world and I see quite a lot of snake oil and experiences that are out there. I am a skeptic myself. So, I think that's why we put a lot of effort and emphasis on explaining exactly how these ancient healing modalities work, what the evidence is that we have to prove it. There's perspectives to look at from, whether it's the Army Gateway process or the CIA findings or the science perspective or the ancient Indian teachings. And we try to show it in so many different lights that we can kind of overcome that skepticism. But then it's all about experience. So once you experience it and you feel it, you kind of overcome yourself in that way too.
What about with, how long is the retreat itself? Ron was talking about, is it 5 days?
First one was 5, second one was 4, but you've got multiple scheduled for different days, right? Yeah, different time lengths.
Yeah, so the first one, we teach all of the basics and helping people understand the basics of the different modalities, how they work, how to get the most impact out of them, how to surrender more to the experience, and just really understanding what you're doing. And we practice that quite a lot, and we see the transformation in the first 5-day retreat. The second one is only 4 days, and it's much more jam-packed. So you do have to do the first one to come to the second one, but the second one we really start to push the boundaries of human consciousness, and we do things like telekinesis, CE5. We do a 72-hour water fast within that. So there's many different things that people are experiencing.
Is that a fire alarm, Julia? No problem. What we're gonna do, we're gonna drop off of this call right now, and then I'm gonna call you because we were breaking up and we got a little bit of an echo, and I just want to make sure and honor you. So I'm gonna call you here in a second, and then we'll get you taken care of. Okay. So if you can drop off this one, and then I'll call you.
Okay, perfect.
Sound good? So if you can drop off this. Technology is always good until it's not, right?
Yeah.
Let me do this. Hold on for a second. So this is the cool thing, because we can actually just get her on this way. This stuff is fascinating to me.
Oh, the tequila's already in the cup.
I told you. I got that for you.
Sorry about that.
That's Cardenas Legacy Tequila, baby.
It smells nice.
Is it good? Yeah. That's that is the. This one's the. Is this Anejo? Yeah, that's the Cardenas Legacy Anejo. What is your reaction to that, Ron? Do you hear her coming in?
I hear it ringing, yeah. Delicious, warm,
Yes.
not too caramely, but smooth.
Cardenas Legacy Tequila. Chris Cardenas, I love you so much.
You have reached Cameron Preserve Apartments. I'm sorry we're not available to answer your call at this time. If you'd like to leave a message, please do so after the tone. If you have an
Is that the? Is there another phone number for her? Is that her phone number?
I believe so. Let me see. Yeah, that's her number.
That's her number. Okay. I'll try it again. Let me see here. That's the 407 number.
Yeah.
I want to bring Julia in, so she's probably not. Do you want to text her and tell her that it's
No,
coming
it
from
should
me?
be her answer machine. That wasn't her number for some reason. That's the right number?
360. That's why. So hold on. 407. Say it to me. 407 360.
5949.
Hello.
Hi. Sorry about that.
There we go, Julia. So, Julia, what we're going to add to your retreat is Cardenas Legacy Tequila. We just got the endorsement from it right now. Ron just had a taste of the Anejo. Did
I'm
you like the
having some
Anejo?
on your behalf as well. I might have your serving as well. We'll see.
Julia, are you a tequila fan?
I am a tequila fan, actually. I have a mango tree, and once a year I make the best mango margaritas you've ever had.
Have you done it with Cardenas Legacy Tequila?
I haven't, no. So I'm excited to try it.
She sounds so much better now, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
much clearer.
so much
Yeah.
clearer. It's great. So talk to me too about this, the part of the resistance, right? So you said that you were a resistor of it, or a thought process where, you know, we're filled right now with a world of snake oil, right? And we've always been.
Right.
I mean, but more than ever, you know, if you just, I'll solve all your challenges if you just buy my course and hang out with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we're filled with that. But the reason why I want to sit down with Ron is because I've known Ron for 6 years. Every time that I've connected with him, he always makes me feel like a rock star. So that's the reason why. Although, Julia, you know that it took me 6 years to get him on the podcast. Do you know this?
I didn't. Wow, Ron, you're playing really hard to get.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I wanted to make sure you were here to join me. So.
Amazing. Perfect divine timing.
So, Julia, how'd you get interested in it? How'd you get over your skepticism?
Honestly, I tested out, and this is part of why we do the science and testing. Everything and every modality and every technology, before it comes into our retreat experience in front of our guests, we make sure that, number one, it works, most importantly. Number two, that it resonates in the way that, you know, the product or the modality has been developed. And it's all, through experience and learning how to discern these things from doing it for a long time, essentially. But what I recommend for people is really do your research and find out, you know, maybe look at different client testimonials, look at different information that's available out there, and you know, make sure what you're doing is the real deal, because there's a lot of people, and you know, maybe well-intentioned people too, that just lack experience and understanding and their own kind of transformation with these different healing modalities and technologies that are available today.
When Ron and I were just talking about it, we were saying that one of my friends is an avid Bikram yoga teacher, and she's like one of the friends that is, or one of the masters that in the event that you don't do it exactly the way that she told you, she's really nice. She's my friend since fourth grade. But she wants to smack me upside my head. You know what I mean? So, and there's what we were saying is like in the Bikram practice, there's, a certain temperature that you have to be at, certain humidity that you have to be at, certain amount of poses that you do in a certain amount of time, and you have to do them a certain amount of times. I mean, there's a lot of things that's almost a cadence to it. Does that relate to what we're talking about here with you guys' retreats?
Yeah, Bikram is a very specific style of yoga, 29 postures in 90 minutes. I do believe that it's important to have a system and a process, in understanding what works and what doesn't. But there also has to be opportunity to flow with the universe and allow inspiration to come through, because I don't believe that it's a, one cookie cutter style approach for everyone. Bikram is a practice, but in our retreats, some people take a little bit longer in hypnotherapy to open up, and we're not going to potentially say, okay, that's your 90 minutes. It's time to go to the next thing. We want to make sure that person has, opened and closed the portal or the intention that they're trying to come to closure with. And I think that's also part of what's so powerful about our experiences is being that it is custom and private in most cases at our Best Life Being Retreat Center. We're able to learn so much about how most people operate and then apply that knowledge to the collective. And I think the collective energy does help move the rest of the group at, a slower or faster pace. But at the same time, it is also with God, and we do have to trust and listen to that intuition. And that's part of what we teach at our retreats.
Just to piggyback on that, Bikram yoga would be one of the modalities that could be used within this type of retreat. And even though Julie didn't do Bikram at the first one, every day, every morning rise was with yoga, because yoga is an important modality and was one of the many that she put together in this program.
Awesome. And when I'm talking about that too, for both of you guys, I'm just talking about the principle side of it, just for my mind to almost wrap around it, right? So to be able to make the comparisons. And I know I told Ron already, Julia, and you're going to know this, I make really bad comparisons, and my segues probably, they're weird segues all the time. I don't know if I ever told you, Ron, about my friend. His name is Manny. Julia, you've never heard about my friend named Manny either.
I know Manny.
Do you know Manny?
Well, yeah.
So, it's Manny a homie. Do you know that name?
Manny the homie?
A homie. So that's it. That's his last name. So okay. Manny a homie, he started what's called Samaritan's Feet, right? Ron's going for the Cardenas Legacy Tequila. He's reaching for it right now. I'm telling you, this Chris Cardenas, you're the man, and he's a veteran too. So I just wanted to let you know that. But Manny a homie started a company called Samaritan's Feet, and the reason why he did was he grew up in a place where he had no shoes. And he used to have to walk, 5 and 10 miles sometimes to be able to get water. There was a ton of footborne diseases that happened during that time. He came upon a guy who was volunteering, and he was volunteering and doing a basketball competition. And if you made the certain amount of shots, then you won a pair of shoes. Well, he won the pair of shoes. When he did, it changed his life, because now he wasn't getting as sick. He didn't have as many diseases from the footborne side of it. And he grew up. And when he grew up, he went to college, played basketball in college, got a scholarship, went through, and he became an executive. And when he was an executive, he was sitting on a courtside with his boss, and he told his boss of an idea that he had to be able to provide shoes for kids that were afflicted with footborne diseases. His boss said, in the event that you don't go and do that, I'm going to fire you. So Manny had no choice but to leave the corporate world in a very successful position and start Samaritan's Feet. And now he's given, millions and millions of shoes out to people all over the world, and created the first NCAA basketball game that was played with no shoes, and was featured on, Inside the NBA. And they showed this, and they were talking about doing a NBA game. They haven't done it yet, but doing it with no shoes on to help them to understand what it would be like with no shoes. The reason why I'm saying this is because most of the time when a person has a mission, it's because of something that they experienced in their life that they don't want other people to go through. Is this the case with you, Julia?
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone asked me, like, how did I start this business? And it was completely by accident. And it was all, my journey and my life experience. So my father passed away when I was young, and I was 10 years old and didn't really know how to deal with it. And I went through some challenges in my childhood where I was bullied in school, and my family was poor and we couldn't afford a school uniform, and people, because I came from Ukraine actually when I was younger, and so I didn't speak English. So kids at school would call us poor, stupid, and my dad was retarded because he had a stroke and got dementia. And so by the age of 10, I had all these limiting beliefs that about my wealth and my intelligence and my ability to do things. And so for the next decade, I really felt the pain inside of me and didn't know what to do with it, didn't know how to move it. And I would express that pain onto the outside world. And then in my early 20s, I was diagnosed suicidal with depression, ADHD, and a number of other acronyms. And at this point, I was in over $80,000 worth of debt with nothing to show for it. I was 40 pounds heavier than I am today. And I was just miserable. I had no passion, no direction, no purpose. And I was in a relationship that was physically violent at the time. And eventually, when the violence happened, I realized this isn't what I wanted to be when I grew up. So I went on the search of just finding one happy person out there because I wasn't really surrounding myself with them. And I always say, when the student's ready, the teachers arrive, because as soon as I asked for it and I started to make those transformations, it started with, in the 3D world, it looks like, okay, I'm going to go to lose weight. And then I joined a gym and I met inspiring people, and an author who told me to sit down with him at 8 a.m. breakfast and write my book every single day. And, one thing led to another, and I came across all of this spiritual work, and it's what helped me transform my life. My background in corporate was in training and assessment and education. So I started to put together curriculums that I was more passionate about than teaching them in the corporate world. And then fast forward 17 years later, here we are doing this for people, and I really couldn't think of doing anything else. It's just such beautiful work, and the journeys that we watch people go on is truly inspiring, and it helps us, want to create more and become better and understand the power of human consciousness more and more.
Well, I just got a chance to speak at a memorial service for the, what was it? How do I say it? The federal prison system. So every one of the fallen teammates, they say their name and they say actually how they were killed, and they do it graphically. Wow. And they say the exact time when their last watch was and all the stuff. And when I spoke at it, when I went into it, I had agreed to speak before I knew exactly what it was, because it was a friend of mine that was as an executive for the prison system. And so I know maybe this is not good, but I wanted to walk away with somebody smiling a little bit, because in that, you want to reverence, you want to be respectful, but also too, it's a very heavy situation. And when I walked, when I met a woman, her name is Ty, and she was sitting in the back of the room, and I gave her a hard time because when I first walked up, she kind of side-eyed me a little bit. And so she side-eyes me, and I called it out right away. I said, oh, well, Ty was side-eyeing me. I was just joking with her. And then I actually utilized it in my talk, and it made her laugh. And so when she responded back to it, she reached back out to me, and she said, in such a heavy environment, having something like that made me laugh, even if it was just for a second, it really made my day. In all of the things that came back as far as the feedback for me, that was the one thing that I remember. When you go through this, since you've been doing these, Julia, what has been the thing that has hit you the heaviest, or that has made you the happiest about the results that you're getting, and if in a specific place?
I mean, I have a story like this every single day because, it's a lot of trusting and surrendering and trusting in the work that we do and the person's journey of who, like the person that's in front of us, their journey, and allowing it to unfold. And just recently, I'm going to think back to last week, but there's been so many beautiful examples of this. We had, a lady, and she was really just high stress, had been working her whole entire life on Wall Street and really, just dealing with a lot of stress and pressure for many decades. And when she first came in, there was a lot of things that brought her into an elevated emotion, and her natural response was to respond with anger all the time. And as we started to work through it and face the issues that were coming up for her, we could see her sort of start to solve it and soften and resolve it within herself. And by the end of the week, she was completely transformed and talking to us about she doesn't even recognize the person that walked into that room. So it's really rewarding for me to see those moments. We had another lady at Quantum Peak. This was one of the most moving experiences I've ever seen. I asked if anybody wanted to jump up on the stage and share about anything, their experience, their journeys, their past, their future, whatever they wanted to talk about, to share with the audience. And we didn't know this at the time, but when she got up on the stage, she told us that 48 hours before the retreat, she was writing a suicide letter to her 2 children because her husband had cheated on her and left her. And she was really struggling with the pain of that for many years. She hadn't been able to process it and move on with a new relationship or a new life. And throughout the week, she had done the inner work. The hypnosis had really affected her in a powerful way. And then by the end of the retreat, she was sharing her story with everybody, and she had completely transformed that energy. She had gotten rid of all her antidepressants and medications and replaced it with a new love that she found within her. And it was really powerful to watch that transformation, and especially watch it happen so fast. And then funnily enough, at that retreat, because she had changed and transformed and opened herself to love, she had actually met somebody at that retreat. And now I think it's been 8 months. They came and visited us in Miami. They've been traveling the world with the children. They're in love, starting their own company. So it's all these little moments is, so beautiful to just watch people make these transformations so fast, and they feel like family to us. And we just really are so grateful to be part of their journeys, because I think it's the hardest thing to look at yourself and want to make that change and then do the work that it takes to really bring everything up and feel it. And so when we get to see it, I just can't think of anything better in life.
Well, it's incredible. I can't wait for you to be, for you to come out this way. When are you going to be back out on the East or the West Coast?
Probably next month or so.
Okay.
I'll be there. But you have to come and visit our retreat center in Miami and come have a healing day or two of your own.
Yeah, I love me some Miami. I love me some Florida. I was out there, been out there quite a few times, probably 3 or 4 times this year. But let's do this. Let's get you in the studio at some point too when you're out here on the West Coast, which I think would be great. So, but I'm going to
absolutely. Maybe we can hypnotize you.
No, I don't know if I'm going to get hypnotized, girl. I don't want to.
There's nothing to be afraid of.
No, I'm not afraid of it. I don't want to be clucking like a chicken and you telling me. I'm just joking with you. I'm kidding with you.
We'll focus on the things you want to manifest instead. I don't need you to dance like a chicken.
Yeah. No, I think it's awesome. It's fascinating that way. I'm going to get back to drinking tequila with this handsome devil in front of me. But I want to tell you, I just thank you so much. It's incredible. And congratulations on the journey too. I just think it's awesome.
Thank you so much.
You got it. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk with you soon, okay?
You too, guys.
Bye, Julia.
All right, bye.
It's so cool to be able to have Julia come on and to be able to speak about that. Now, how about with yourself? Okay, so when we're building, when Julia was just talking about it, one of her big things was, or one of the standout moments was the the transformation of the woman, getting rid of the antidepressants within 5 days and doing the stuff. If we talk about that in sense of construction, right?
Okay.
You could be good, you could be fast, or you could be cheap. You can't be all three.
Right.
You get two. Does that apply in this realm too?
Unfortunately, it does now, and I'm hoping it won't in the future, because to put on one of these retreats is expensive. There's
Got it.
8, 9, 10 people involved, many of them specialty practitioners in themselves.
Got it.
A lot like building a house. They bring in the whole crew together. And if I'm going to do a tiny little bathroom and I need all those guys, or if I'm doing a big house, it's cheaper.
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd find a connection, but that's the connection I think.
Okay. So, but do the principles do those principles?
Yeah, this is good and fast, but right now it's a little expensive.
Got it.
I think it's between $2,000 and $4,000 to attend one of the events.
Okay.
That's not huge out of range. But it was so interesting at Quantum Peak because it was, I think, $4,000 for the event, another $1,500 in the hotel. So it's a significant amount,
Yeah.
$5,500 for 5 days.
Got it.
So the people that attended were people that could afford that, And it seemed like most of them, by the world's standards, were successful, owned multiple businesses or restaurants or this and that. Everyone had a success story they could tell.
Yeah.
But to hear the stories at the end, the transformations, you'd have no idea.
So the transformations, forgive me on this, like I'm just always curious on it. The transformation, if a transformation happens in 5 days, I'm looking at like, if you made a transformation in my house in 5 days, I'm going to be waiting for a year from now to see if that wall is going to fall. Because if you built it in 5 days, that thing's going to fall. Does that make sense?
If I'm building a house, yeah.
If you're building a house.
Correct.
So, but I'm just saying principle-wise, right?
Principle-wise,
So
yeah.
if something happens fast, right? So
It doesn't mean it's not good if that's what your question is.
yeah, that's what I was wondering about. And again, I'm just curious on it, like thinking, you bouncing the idea back and forth of, when I heard the, transformation of in the 5 days and then the people meet there and then they're already building a business together and 8 months later they're in a relationship. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Say that again and pose your question.
Well, so
My mind wandered to get with the ADHD.
yeah, that was just good.
I was still thinking about something else to build it.
The Oreos.
I'm like,
you were
you're on the
thinking
show.
about
Get back on the show.
You're in the Oreos. So so if I told you, hey, I just had my friend was going through a really traumatic time.
Yeah.
In the last 5 days, they've really transformed.
Right.
In the case of those 5 days, they met a new person. And they've been in a relationship for 8 months. If I gave you that scenario, took the retreat out of it, gave you that scenario,
Right.
would you wonder how long that relationship was going to last?
If they just met in 5 days, yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Except for their perspective, I think, is better than ever probably was in their whole life. In the past, it might not have lasted, but we'll see.
Okay, that makes sense.
And it's not like we have to guess anymore, which is the only reason I'm here and interested in the modalities.
Yeah.
Is we have the data. We
That's
have the data
amazing.
on everybody we talked about. We have the data of the group.
Yeah.
So we know what happened. It wasn't a transformation because of the testimonials. There's plenty of those.
Yeah.
We can see that the body shifted and changed in real time.
That's amazing. So, like, as far as seeing what were let's go back to it because you said the sleep part of it was a big one for you.
Yeah, the
You know?
sleep index shifted 50%, dropped.
What does the
amongst
sleep
timeline.
index actually mean? What's the connection point with that? Is it the amount of sleep? Is it the quality of sleep? Is that what it was?
I think both, mostly the quality, and I'm not a scientist, so but look it up. But
Yeah.
there's a sleep index, and they all came in at a certain point
Yeah.
to where they had some sleep issues,
Okay.
a lot of stress issues. Obviously, being successful business owners probably had all those things.
Yeah.
But all 15 of them within 5 days went to 50% of that, which is a pretty significant signal. And it can't be done by anything else that I know of or have been able to research
Okay.
within that amount of time.
So when Julia was talking about, she was talking about like early on mindset, like almost a limiting, like her environment that she grew up in kind of almost capped what she thought, whether it be that she could earn, what she could do, things like that, right? And so I find that this is a very almost common thing. Like you've seen this, you know. Did you have those kind of things growing up? Or did you have that, whether it was a constriction or did you have an expansion? Did that happen with when you were working in Laguna on the pools and seeing the homes that you were seeing and being around the environment? Did that start to expand your brain to say what was possible?
I don't think I've ever had any limits in my brain. I never thought anything was not possible.
Yeah. Where do you think that comes from?
I don't know.
Were your
I
parents
mean, I
telling you
love when I hear
things?
people say you can't do it that way or shouldn't be done. It's almost like a spur of like, okay, let's see. You know, I don't know. No, my parents weren't like that. My mom used to tell me when I was young, why don't you just go get a job? Stop doing all this business stuff you're trying to do and just get a job. And they wanted just the route, you know, you take your thing, go to work.
What about
9 to
Dad?
5. What's that?
What about your pop? What was he saying? Because your pop owned a business.
He liked no, my dad worked for a company.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah. That's a longer story. That was my dad that raised me, not my biological dad.
Really?
Yeah. Who is exactly like me, but I didn't meet him until I was 30.
Really?
He's the one that wears all the hats and does all the different things.
How'd you meet him?
I called him up and let him know he had a granddaughter the day she was born.
How'd you find him?
I dialed 411. It was a restricted number, and I told the operator the story, and she connected me.
What was the story?
That I was the son that he's never met 30 years ago. And he has a granddaughter.
Really? How did you, so your dad who raised you, was he married to your mom from a very early age of you?
Yeah, they told me I was adopted when I was like 5.
How old were you when you were adopted?
5.
5 years old?
Yeah.
Okay.
They got together. He adopted me at 5, I think 5 or 6.
Okay.
And I remembered this story when I was 12 and asked him, I said, what was that whole story you told me about me being adopted? They're like, you remember that? I'm, oh, yeah. And then my mom told me. And then I waited, you know, you're nervous until I was 30. And for some reason, I got the courage to call him the night my daughter was born. I thought, I can't be rejected. Just letting him know he's got a granddaughter. And it's been awesome ever since.
So when your mom told you, how old were you? You said
6? 5 or
6?
6. Yeah.
5 or 6. So she tells you, does she tell you who he is too? Or does she just tell you that you're
Not until I asked when I was 12.
okay.
She told me where he lived, his name.
How far was he from you?
He was in Pennsylvania. I
Okay.
was in San Diego.
Move your microphone just slightly. Yeah,
What's that?
just in the center. It just because what you're saying is so important. So you're perfect. You're perfect now. So he lived in Pennsylvania. Okay, at 12 years old. That's a pretty formidable time. What'd you go through during that time?
I used to envision wanting to see, like, get a job at where he worked at so I could watch him from a distance, see if I could learn about him. Stuff
Really?
like that, yeah. And I guess I had this feeling that I needed to prove myself as successful or ambitious before I met him to prove that I maybe didn't need him. Although I was so glad when I did. Maybe that was it. I don't know.
Yeah, and the connection point, like with your dad, the dad that raised you, he worked for a company. That was the company that you talked about. The pool company was connected with. Am I correct?
Yeah, he owned that company. Yeah, he was kind of a grounded, filled with a lot of love man, encouraging all the way along the way. Not much, a little bit of a risk taker, I guess, because he opened his own company.
Uh-huh.
But 2 different personalities, 2 different dads that I got to experience the best of both with.
Was there any curiosity at all before your mom told you about, maybe, because sometimes we have intuition, but at 5 years old, from 5 to 6 is when you don't know. Was there any inkling at all during that time? Was there any signs that now when you look back at it, you're like, oh, that makes sense?
Yeah, I thought I was nothing like any of these people in the house.
Really?
Yeah. My brother's a lot like my dad and my mom, I guess, and I didn't feel like really either of them. I felt like there was a missing component
Okay.
of some sort.
When's the first time that you talked to him was 30 years old?
Yeah.
Tell me you get on 411. This is awesome because 411, I don't think it exists. Can you dial 411 today?
I don't think so.
I don't think you're allowed to.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can. Do you remember when you used to be able to dial 11911? Do you remember that one?
No.
11911 would ring your phone back.
Oh.
But if you did it slow, it registered 911, and then you would get the call back from the dispatch,
Gotcha.
which would get you in trouble.
Right.
But if you did it fast enough, it would ring your phone back. You would hang the phone up, and it would ring your phone back, and then you could play a trick on your friend.
Pretend like you're getting a call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
That is cool.
I would do it to my brothers because I would answer, the phone would ring back, and then I would tell them that it was the girl that they were trying to talk to, and then they would get on and no one would be there, which is always funny to me. So when you call 411 at 30 years old, what do you tell the operator?
I told her the story that I'd never met him. I know he lives in Philadelphia. Here's his name. He just had a granddaughter. Can I talk to him?
Did she connect you?
She did.
She connected.
Oh, no.
She just gave you the phone number.
This is 30 some years ago. She said, great story. I will connect you, but it's 3:00 in the morning. Are you sure you want to do this? That was on my daughter's birthday. And I said, you're right. And I waited 10 months. I waited. And that's when I called him. And unfortunately, I had a brother who died in between that time that I never got to meet. And that's a whole long story, too. He was testified, chased by the mafia, driving around the Uzi on his motorcycle, gunned down. And but I got to meet my dad then, which he grieved with my brother during that time. So the time we met, there had been 10 months between. And that's when we met.
What was the first conversation like? Does he look like you?
Identical. That was so weird. He's 88 years old,
Okay.
same height, same weight, plays pickleball 4 or 5 days a week still. He had a business card one time that had 22 different trade things that he does on it, just cut from the same cloth.
Really?
Yeah, and we were just talking the other day, we love talking to each other because it's not like we had any of the disciplinary things you might have as a kid. We just have two of the same brains talking, more like brothers than anything else.
Have you got to spend time with him now?
Oh, all the time.
Where does he live now?
In Florida.
He does?
Yeah, in Stewart. Yeah.
That seems to be a suburb of like Philadelphia and New York.
Yeah.
Is
a little
Florida.
bit.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's like,
Right.
what suburb do you live in? Oh, I live in Florida. How long has he been down there?
How long's he been there?
How long has he been down in Florida?
I'd say 25 years, 30 years, quite a while.
What are the other things that clicked and made sense once you met your pop, like your birth father, that in your head maybe you felt a little bit kind of fish out of water, with mom and stepdad or dad that raised you. I don't know how to call him that or whatever, but you felt like a little fish out of water, a little bit of a black sheep. Once you connected with Pop, he had the multiple businesses, ideas, things like that. What were some of the other things?
Well, it was crazy. Everybody in our family, it was either an engineer or an architect, builder in some capacity, and he went to school for engineering. So that was kind of cool. Just the mindset in which we analyze things all the way is the same type of thing. And it's fun to do that Ancestry.com. We got back to where my great grandfather was. My dad's name is Redhouse. So I was born Ronald Lee Redhouse, and it became Blackburn. And our great-great-grandfather, Sir Robert Redhouse, wrote the first Turkish to English dictionary ever. And he spoke 8 languages. And they wrote a book about him called, the King of the Orient or something like that, or the Prince of the Orient, because he was able to translate for these emperors and leaders of different countries of what they're saying. So he had more power than the people that spoke the language. They might say, we're going to come in your village and cut your heads off. And he'd be like, we're not really happy about the way grain prices are going. So and he left early, 17 years old, took off and was just learning all these languages around the world. And it's fun to research that and meet my dad with that. And when I first met him, we'd never seen each other. We wrote each other a letter when I called him on the phone. And my penmanship was identical to his. And his girlfriend at the time said, "Why did you write yourself a letter?" He said, "I didn't, but our penmanship was the same, and there's just so many similarities down the line that DNA has something to do with it, not the upbringing." Ironically.
So do you think that, how much of you do you think is taught, and how much do you think of it is nature? If we did percentages, and I mean, neither of us are scientists, although I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express, so
If you would have asked me before, I wouldn't know, but we have so many commonalities in our behaviors and the way we analyze different things that has to come from DNA. But I think nature gives us an opportunity, right, to utilize some of those traits or not, depending what your upbringing is. I had a loving upbringing and nobody diminishing my creativity to tell me there's anything limitless, except my mom, but I just thought, I'm going to do what I want anyways.
Yeah.
But I think that could diminish a lot of people's creativity after enough negative saying no, no, no. But I think you ultimately have the potential of the DNA or more. But I don't know. I'm not a scientist either. I too stayed at all.
And your pop looks just like you then.
Yeah.
So he's a handsome devil too. I tell you, you should succeed the guy, the Dos Equis guy. Seriously, right when I met you, I was like, that is the Dos Equis guy. Like, yeah, I don't drink beer very often, but when I do, could you say that for me real quick?
I don't often have drinks with Kelly, but when I do, it's Cardenas.
See, it's perfect. You're the poster child for it. When's the last time you hung out with your pop?
What was it? Just a few months back, maybe 6 months ago. But we talk all the time.
Yeah.
Stephanie, by the way, when she first met him, she told him right to his face. She said, "If something happens to him, I'm going after you." I'm like, all right. That's
How
cool.
old was he when he had you?
22.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And my mom was also, yeah.
Yeah. And so did they stay together for any period of time, or they were just together and then?
They went on a few dates
Okay.
and went their separate ways. And from what I understand, she's told him she was pregnant. He helped her with some money for a while. She met my dad. She said, "Thanks, you don't need to send me anything anymore." Met my dad, Nick, who raised me.
Yeah.
And it was good. And they kind of didn't connect until we connected. And then they've been friends ever since. And they still talk once a month now.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you have any other siblings besides, you had one that is deceased, a brother, right?
Yeah.
From
I
your pop.
got a new sister out of that relationship.
Okay.
Renee, who's my younger sister from my dad and his previous wife. I have a brother from my dad who raised me, Nick, and my mom, and he's in Oklahoma, and my mom's in Oklahoma now, and he's looking out for her and taking good care of her. But just last year, we found out that we have another brother who's 55, and he has a whole family. So now we get together, all of us, on Father's Day, 3 different kid lines with my dad. So it's become more interesting every year.
Did your dad drive a Lincoln Continental? He had to. If he had kids all over there, he was Frank and Ernest. He was Frank in Detroit and Ernest on the West Coast.
He's very charismatic and likable, and
yeah,
he's a good guy.
I'm sure he is.
I love him.
Yeah, I mean, you're a handsome guy, so I can imagine. I imagine he's a very handsome man.
He's
got
interesting
game.
and he's kind.
He sure is.
Cares about how more about the other person's expectations. For
Okay.
sure, but he's great.
Yeah. So with the mindset part, have you guys, when you guys talk about these things, do you guys? He doesn't have to play the role of dad, but is he more of an encourager with you? Where when you guys are just talking, you guys are throwing ideas back and forth at each other and
Very encouraging,
Okay.
even more so than ChatGPT.
Really?
Yeah, but in a way that he might not have done if we got to grow up together. So I got that unique advantage, I think,
Yeah.
because of that. So very encouraging.
Have you ever not been encouraged by ChatGPT? Because mine seems to be always like, that's a great idea. Every time, like I'll come up with something and I'll just talk to it and it'll be like, that you're onto something. I'm like, I can't be onto something every time.
Yeah, I like to start off with chat because it's a bit sycophantical in a good way to get me excited about something. And then I pressure test it with Claude, who brings me down to earth.
Is Claude kind of like, is any AI that you found kind of like, my best friend is from 4th grade and he'll be like, nah, that ain't it. and then he'll just move on. Is there
I
any?
think they all have their little personalities, but I try to use chat to write the prompts that I give to Claude with the intent of don't, blow smoke on my, and give me the truth here. And so I'll set the expectations with Claude in the prompt going to it. And then give me a, real pressure testing environment. It's good to be excited at a certain point, but other times you want them to go, hey, don't mess around and give me the truth.
Where do you use it the most?
What do you mean?
AI.
I mean, geographically or?
No, just like not where. Like, I'm not asking if you're on the beach and you're doing it. Don't tell me that, Ron. That got weird real fast.
What do you mean? Which domains? Or?
No, like where in your life do you use it the most? Not like, oh, I use it in the bathroom all the time, Ron. Come on, brother.
I use it everywhere.
You just in every aspect, from construction to
everything.
Are you writing another book?
I have one I want to write, yeah, but nothing.
What do you want to write?
I want to write a book. Right now, the title is called The Invisible Brand.
Okay.
And it's basically that all the advice you get from every sales book, whatever it is, the invisible brand is maintaining that internal feeling, and it becomes a byproduct. The outcome that people are trying to teach is the byproduct of what comes out with showing humility and love and joy and gratitude before you move into the situation. If you wanted to buy something, I would sell you something from that attitude. My actions become the byproduct versus trying to do it to get you to do something.
Keep going there. Stay with me for 1 second. Stay with me for 1 second. Let me just do this real quick. I just need to go here. If you wrote that one, would that one be more of a instructional, or would it be you writing about your life and a story and things like that?
No, I think it'd be more instructional.
It's not a twist cap, by the way. Just wanted to let you know.
Oh, okay. Sometimes when you twist and pull, the friction.
No, it's funny because I did that. I sat and I twisted this on the tequila. I twisted it, and I was like, man, this, maybe I have to push down and twist it. It was like a, what is that, adult or a child lock?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I kept pushing down on it, and I kept twisting it, and the person was waiting for me to pour, and they were just looking at me, and I was like,
what are you
it
doing?
just won't open. I guess it won't do it. And then I just pulled it right off. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And that's all we learned.
But would you want the book to be, because it's different, right? So sometimes you write a book, I've got 4-6 points that I'm going to hit, and then, I want to be able to, at the end, the person to understand these aspects. And then there's the part of a story journey, and the person takes from it what they want. Do you have a preference?
I haven't put enough thought into how it would structure out, other than there's so much thought on the how-to that we're forgetting the why people do those things in the first place. I mean, I don't make eye contact with you right now to try to sell you anything. I do because I'm talking with you.
Yeah.
And the body language and everything we try and do that people try to replicate for something that's going to get them a fair interaction with what they're going for. It shouldn't be it that way. It should be a byproduct of the other.
Yeah.
Like if I care about you and I want the best for you and your family, the things I'm going to do is be insistent on a certain brand or tell you a certain why or I might even say, no, I'm not even going to build it that way because I care about you. And it's not to try to trick you into it. I'm acting those ways to do that. But also can be manipulated as a tactic. If I act like I don't care and walk away and I'm too proud, people will go, I got to use this guy because he cares. But it's a subtle difference, but it's all the difference.
How do you work out the differences between the two? My buddy Will and I were just talking about this, where I think in today's time, everyone wants to know, like, they want to sit you down. They see Ron. They see however they want to see the successful part. I see the successful part in a guy who's curious and develops amazing relationships. That's the reason why I think you're successful. Now, on the flip side of it, from a world perspective, yeah, I mean, you're an elite builder. Your business is successful in the world's terms if you just looked at that side of it. For me, I look at the other I look at the other side. But most of the time a person sits down with you and then they're like, okay, give me the 4 steps to be Ron, right? It's like, even if you use those and your heart wasn't in it, it ain't going to work anyway.
Yeah. Or any person. To
Yeah.
be any person, you'd have to be that person. And the 4 steps will never make you be the person. Right?
How do you keep the modalities from becoming the religion? Does this make sense? Because a lot of times, like, a person will get into a routine with something, whether we're talking about the book concept that you just had, the building trust, the modalities, any of those things. Sometimes people get so focused on the routine itself, and that becomes the religion, and they forget what you were talking about earlier, why they are doing it and the purpose for which they're doing it, and they just keep going through the motions. That's when we get into that. How do you stop that from happening?
Yeah, I think you could say the same thing about running or going to the gym or whatever your obsession might be. If it's a healthy obsession in your mind, then it's okay. But I don't think that's okay. I don't know how you do it other than kind of do what's, like, for me, hot yoga 3-4 times a week is important because I don't know of any other exercise that I can stretch everything out that I need to in a temperature like that and push myself physically to a limit in 1 hour with every part of your body, core, everything, and exhaust yourself. So I like that type of thing, and it's safe. I'm not going to be running hills, and I used to lift weights, and then you can always rip out a shoulder or something like that. So I enjoy that, and that's why I stick with that. But I don't want to do it on a religious thing where I have to do it. I do it when sometimes I don't do 3 days. I do 2 days, or maybe I don't do any at all that week. I'm traveling or we're too busy. I don't know the answer other than maybe moderation in all things, including moderation.
You understand, you catch the concept of what I'm talking about, because like, I had a woman tell me, she was like, I love to work out. And I was like, no, you don't. And she's like, no, you don't understand me. That's just the person that I am. I just love to work out. And I said, no, you don't. You like the result of working out. And she's like, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, if you worked out every day and got fatter, you wouldn't like working out. So you like the result of it. It's not that you're in love with the practice of it. Does that make sense?
It's true. I always say the best part of yoga is when you're done.
Yeah.
But the way you feel and the seed it plants for the recovery afterwards is amazing. So we do pay a price for anything we enjoy, right?
Yeah.
To a degree.
Do you subscribe to the fact that if you want extreme freedom, you have to have extreme discipline?
You could be a homeless guy and have extreme freedom without any discipline, I'm guessing.
Different type of freedom.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'd agree with that unless we looked at the scenarios.
I've never heard that part of it.
It just came through my head.
Yeah. I like these coming into your head things. That's
But if there was a balance, if I thought I want complete freedom in everywhere in this life,
yeah.
but it's going to require this, you're always weighing the odds, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, any relationship, you're in a relationship you love. I am as well. We don't have complete freedom.
Yeah.
But we have the most that we enjoy, and we're willing to sacrifice a little bit for that. So I don't know if we get 100% freedom ever.
What'd you learn about when you became a dad? You're a girl dad too, you said. Yeah.
So much. I keep going back to trust. I've always would tell her the truth, my daughter. I don't want to tell her what to do. But I want to share with her and watch her make the discoveries, type of thing. It's actually really cool because last week I got to talk to her. She's 33 now. And she shared a lot with me growing up, every single thing you can imagine, except for her dating life when she got older. She never kind of shared that with me. And since then, she's been married and divorced now. 4 years, I think, since she's been divorced. And the other day she said, I'm dating now. And I'm like, wow. She goes, I haven't even told my mom. And then I shared with her how, I never wanted to walk on it, but she opened up to every single thing about what was going on. I just felt like it was super cool. I don't know what I did to earn it, but I just was excited for her. and wanted to hear her share.
When your daughter goes through a divorce, do you want to choke the man?
Yeah. It was one of those, I'm trying to think about what I should say and not say in details wise, but I had to go in and do a rescue. She said, I got to get out.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'll be there now. 24 hours. I had her sit up in another place, ready to go, off the radar, moved and gone, because it was a situation where she knew I'd help, and who wouldn't, of course, but it had to happen then. And that was a few years ago.
Is it wild too as a dad? Like, because
Yeah, you want to take so many routes in your mind,
yeah,
but you do the responsible.
yeah. Well, I used to joke and say, well, I'm joking to all the people who take it as a joke, but we used to have a lot of business in Vegas, and when you're in Vegas, you meet a lot of different people, and a lot of friends who had various professions.
Yeah, extremes in all categories.
Yes. And they were like, oh, well, are you done with Vegas? I said, I'll never be done with Vegas. They said, why? I said, because I have a daughter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
and
it's part of you.
in the event that and it's not that it was always jokingly serious, but as having a daughter, it's like, it's a sobering scenario. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you find gears as a dad. Did you find gears in you that you didn't know you had? Like dad strength? Like I say, for instance, I mean, this isn't a big thing, but you and I know how challenging it is to drive home from Orange County to San Diego at 6 o'clock on a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? When you hit Camp Pendleton area and it
Yeah,
stops for
just
no
stop.
reason. No reason. Have you ever, there's no reason. There's no merging. There's no nothing. Then you get to the 78 and it just opens up magically.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about?
Uh-huh.
I sat in traffic for like an hour and a half yesterday. Then I get home and my daughter and my wife had got Chipotle. And I forgot to get my son dinner. He's 14. Just because I was in traffic. I get home and then my son's like, oh man, I'd really like some Chipotle. Well, Chipotle is like 15 minutes away. So that means 30 minutes. That means 45 minutes of me going to get it. And I had just got home from being in the car. And then there was another gear. It was the dad gear of like, you got to go do that. Now, before I was a dad, I would have been like, my friend ain't eating.
Right.
Did you find gears?
Oh, yeah. You just get it done. It's not a question of should I or shouldn't I. You just get it done.
Where'd you learn dad strength? Because you apply dad strength in the construction side, right?
I think so. I think my dad and our dads of that generation, there wasn't a question of do I feel like it. It was nothing you could even consider. If I said the words, I don't feel like it, when he told me to do something, you better move quick because something's coming at you.
Do you think that our generation of parenting is going to work then? Because we say every generation goes through a different one, and every generation will say, you didn't have it the way that I did. Right. Every one of them. Like, I'm saying that to my son, but I'm looking at my dad, and my dad grew up in a 1-bedroom cabin with 6 kids with a galvanized steel bucket, no hot running water. And then he says to me, boy, you didn't grow up like me. And now I'm saying that to my son when I didn't grow up in a 1-bedroom cabin.
Yeah, and we also didn't grow up with all of AI and every answer to a question in our hand. Our whole point was about figuring out the answers to these questions, and now we have them. Now what? So I don't know how you grow up or what you do as a kid at this time and how you guide or focus, other than I just tell my daughter, what are you doing? What's working? What's not? And then we have a conversation to start, and then we just kind of talk.
Did she get the entrepreneurial spirit like yourself?
No. Not so much.
Okay.
She's more about, you give her a task, she'll get it done, she'll approve upon it, and she'll give it back to you and show other people how to do it better. She's really good at taking people's processes, and they just say, she worked with me for 2.5 years, and we were doing something like 22 companies going at the same time in one place, and she's literally wearing all hats at all times.
22 companies?
Yeah, we had a lot of things happening at the time.
Okay, name a couple of them. Like industries. You don't have to name the names of the companies, but
Well, the majority of them were nonprofits that we had set up across the U.S. because our insoles, the construction insoles, we sent them out to some tornado victims. Sent not much, like 20 pairs out for free to the news and people like that, so people could go back into their homes, pick up the one doll that might have survived, and protect your feet walking through it because they're puncture resistant. And then we would get multiple orders that exceeded our giving. So we thought we might as well set up some first responder nonprofits. And we connected it to the federal campaign and marketed that through giving away free pairs to anybody need them. Then we did the same thing with the diabetics, set up 9 diabetic things that people that need insoles for their feet. Punctures to the feet are the number one injury on construction jobs, but also on people with pressure wounds to the feet. And I don't know the exact number, but I think it's 288,000 a year, something ridiculous like that, to where like people are constantly getting their feet or something cut off from a pressure wound for diabetic feet.
Really?
Yeah, so it's a big deal. How do we get here? Sorry.
I like where we're at.
No, but I was going to finish it up someplace with this.
You don't ever have to finish it up. We're talking about the insole. You were talking about the insoles. We were talking about the companies. That was you had 22 companies.
Oh, that's right. So most of them were the nonprofits.
I love
that kind of help
ADHD, by the
support
way.
that. Okay.
This should be sponsored by ADHD. Our conversation today,
I
it should
agree.
be.
I agree.
I think it's amazing because I think that so many times people try and take it away, right? They want to cure it. I'm like, it's not, you don't, it's awesome because you hyper focus on that thing right then. And then, you know what? You move on to the next one.
The
You know what I'm
classic
saying?
example to me is, did you ever see that movie Silicon Valley, the series?
I saw a few of them.
I won't go into the details, but basically, when you go down a rabbit hole, totally unrelated from somehow, you can bring back a solution from that no man's domain, or even in another domain where it works over here, and then bring it back. Which is like, I like mastermind so much when you have 12 diversified people on a centralized topic, all thinking in their own world way they would solve it. You come up with all kinds of amazing things.
Do you find that you work the best in those when they're from different industries from yours?
I do, and I feel like, yeah, I love sitting in other industries with my industry knowledge, especially in a scientific world, and they go, why would you make that assumption? You're a builder. I'm like, well, structural, you're going to hold this together. I was talking to a doctor about a kneecap. I'm like, how are you going to put those 2 screws in to a kneecap? You're going to have some type of fabric to cover that, right, to bring that strength together? So we're having a whole discussion about it, and just normal conversations you would have, but, get your mind thinking across domains, and it's kind of fun.
Do you think that there's a couple of principles and they transcend across domains like you were talking about? So the reason I say it is because when you talked about the structural side, right? So you talked about pouring the foundation. You pour the foundation, the foundation has to cure before you set the screws, right?
No, you set screws first.
Oh,
and it cures around it.
Okay, it cures.
The
You set
bolts.
the screws first.
So you have to set the location,
Got it.
hanging them on the form board, and then you fill it with concrete.
Got it.
And they're in the right location to receive the hardware that goes above it that connects it to the framing.
Got it. But you can't order the windows until.
Well, you can't frame until you have the windows ordered.
Got it. So when you look at this kind of thing, a lot of times people want to plan the whole thing before they do it, right? And those people a lot of times stay in the purgatory of idea or even concept, as opposed to, hey, let's get a plan, let's pour it, and then we're going to make slight adjustments as we go. Is that?
Yeah, you should have a plan, I think, to start with.
Yep.
If you have a whole plan, that's great, but there'll be things that change along the way.
Yeah.
If you got 2-foot sinks upstairs in a certain area, but there's only room for 18-inch sinks, you might make some adjustments along the way or something like that. Or you make the house bigger, but there's no decision that can't be found. Everything is solvable and fixable.
Do you find that the principles that you have, right? So like within the construction side, you seem to have utilized them or applied them in so many different areas. When you went into the modality space, did you look at it through the lens and the filter from the construction side?
Yeah, like when building a house, you deal with about 40 different subs and suppliers that are all very much specialties for years and decades in what they do. I know a little bit about them, but I have the vision to have to come together. So I'm constantly having meetings, and the stucco guy who's doing the showers might say, I've floated the stucco for 30 years this way, and I'm going to float it, and I'm not going to do it any other way. But this guy wants to fit something else. And so you get them all together and just have a discussion. And when they hit that point where they don't know the answer, then you kind of do the stoic kind of, what's it called, the type of questioning? My mind escapes me. But you just have to ask questions and let them kind of come up with solutions. Usually I'll come up with a creative solution, but I'm getting these experts together in the construction industry to solve a problem. When I went into the scientific world, nothing changed. You know, I've got a guy who really knows about mitochondria tests and everything else and what can happen in a certain amount of time and not, and the EEGs and what that means to the systems in the body. Nothing we can't learn. Again, now we have all the information in our hand. So when I'm having conversations with those guys, they're still the experts. I'm not trying to ever take that away from them. I'm just suggest to them, can we check for this and this in this type of environment? What if we put these together? What would happen? And it's the same thing. Yeah.
Do you see yourself as more of a Steve Jobs in this space?
I don't know. I think Steve Jobs had a mission, although I guess my mission would want to be just, there are some things that change our body and heal us much faster than we know of. And we should be aware of those.
Yeah.
That's really about it. I'm not trying, I can't build an empire on this type of thing. It's common knowledge. It's meditation, it's breath work, it's all these different things. But we should know that you don't have to go through every normal route, and that we've seen and have data on real biological changes in a short amount of time.
Is there anything that you want to heal in you?
Good question. I think we all have, even though we can think beyond the limits, we want to think even beyond it, right? We want to have less fear, more fearlessness, even though entrepreneurs have more fearlessness than usual. Not many that can pay everybody you got, all your employees, everything's done. You got a nickel in the bank and you still celebrate Christmas and go, that was a great year. Let's do it better next year.
Yeah.
You know, you never know how it's going to happen, but I don't know. I'm grateful. I'm healthy. My family's great. My friends are great. I can't think of anything I'd want to change.
What do you fear right now?
I don't know if it's fear, but because when you're doing a lot of different things, you want to justify that your energy is going appropriately to the different things that's important to in your life. And I want to make sure that I'm doing that, with, of course, me being the judge, but all the things that I value, my family as well, that I'm not just doing it to chase a dream, but that I'm really going to make a difference.
How do you know the difference between the two?
It's a tough one, I got to tell you. I don't know. I know that just what I thought going into this modality thing was just showing the data would be enough. I'm starting to realize that that might not be enough, and it's going to be a road that I don't know will get changed in the amount of effort I can apply to it. Because there's other things that deserve energy as well. So,
what do you find that you're struggling with? I find, I almost think about it like a wrestling match, right? And I think of like with time, you got this thing and you're excited about it and you're moving towards it, and then you start to evaluate. And the evaluation process is always tough, because then you evaluate it and you're like, does it have some sort of return? I'm not talking about just monetary, but does it have a return for me? And then you'll have this other one that maybe return. It's like when you said good, fast, and cheap. This one returns a lot. Maybe it's financially, but it ain't filling me up. This one fills me up, ain't returning.
And that's why I have all the plates spinning, because a little of each, yeah.
And then the wrestling match happens, right? And what is wrestling right now, and who's winning in your life?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess you want to do so much more, so much faster with all of them, and having to pick and choose where you need to go is always tough. But you got to take care of, cash flow, normal things like that, your family. So that is always on the front burner, what you can do beyond that. And then we do more for things that we see scalability options on, right? So you put a lot of time into that. Then you got to pressure test the assumptions, which I've done a lot on things. But now, wasting 3-4 years on something, I can waste 6 months. And I don't want to say waste, because it's never a waste. I keep talking out of the mic.
That's okay.
Every single thing, I'm grateful for what I'm learning, and we don't know what we're going to do. But the more we learn, the more we don't know, the more I want to know.
Tell me Ron Blackburn's pressure test. So I've got this. This is the new widget, right? What's the method that Ron takes himself through to pressure test that widget?
Well, I won't tell you what I did in the past, because that's not going to benefit anybody. But
No, tell us, because I think it will sometimes, because it circumvents the person doing those things. Or what was your, early Ron. Let's go early Ron, middle Ron, now Ron. Early Ron, how would he pressure test it?
the old Ron and everybody else who's probably has an idea they've hung on to a long time would say, if you believe in it enough, don't listen to what other people tell you, just keep staying on it, right? And if you quit early, you're a failure because it didn't happen because you quit. I don't know if that's the case all the time anymore, depending on when you want to get something done. So now I run it through AI. I put it through a ChatGPT of everything I assume is correct and test those assumptions. Everybody's going to buy this. Why wouldn't they? It's like selling hotcakes. Well, that's an assumption. So we put it into the real world, put it all together, ask it to write a prompt for Claude, put the business model together, how it is, how it would assume money, and how it would work, how much time is allocated. And it's a whole, the last one I pressure tested, it took me 6 days, but it's back and forth, back and forth. What if this? What if that? Because I'm creative, and us creative types will go, no, he doesn't know because he's never seen what I can do before. But when you run all the options in real time in a fast little simulation, that's how I do it now.
What are some of the prompts or the questions that you'll take it through that are important to you now, that circumvent some of the time or give you back some of the time?
How fast the first dollar in? What does that look like? What's the scalability in the back end? That's it.
What's the...
From a financial point of view.
From a financial, yeah. And I think that's a good thing, because a lot of times you do hear this. If you love it, just keep doing it. It'll work out.
Right, but the problem is that puts on you that you're just not doing good enough. You didn't call enough people. You didn't grind hard enough. But there are other ventures that you may have not pressure tested that you can grind less or grind at all and make happen, because maybe the one you grind out forever is not going to happen. We all have friends and companies and endeavors that have gone on for way too long that we didn't cut our losses on, that we hang on to. They should just be pressure tested and let go. And the feeling is freeing when you open that up. It's like you've got a cup of tea and you're carrying around this great cup of tea, but once it's gone, now you can fill it with anything you want. But you've been worrying about this full cup and now you have nothing in the cup.
The pressure test thing is...
The pressure test's tough because it challenges your ideology if you built your ID around that. And you got to be prepared for it to crumble if you have, to truly test it. That's the hardest part for me, was testing. I believe so much in this certain thing, what's going to happen? And you got to be willing to accept that.
What's the second? The first thing is the financial viability. What's the second thing?
I think you go into it because you enjoy it. So the financially just confirms it. Okay. And can you scale it away from it so you can be having these conversations with your friends and letting it run by itself?
So the financial part, is your heart in it, and is it scalable?
Yeah, and will it automate itself?
Okay.
With not all by itself, but with little effort, so you can do other things that you want to enjoy. That's got to be important. Otherwise, you're just creating a job for yourself.
I think that's super important because there's so many entrepreneurs that honestly just create a job for themselves and they become an employee, which means that they're not really.
And you're always mad at your employee and you're always mad at your boss. And you can't have both. Right? My boss is making me work. You're mad at yourself and you're feeling you're guilty. You're not working hard enough. And that's the only reason it hasn't taken off. But you kind of set yourself up in a pressure tested situation that's going to put you in that environment, unfortunately.
That's the book.
Which one? We said
The
a lot.
pressure test. Imagine if it was pressure. Imagine if it was pressure test and you took a person through, is it financially viable? Before that, that would kill most ideas.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Right.
Like if we just did that and that's unemotional when you talked about the data, right? So, is the data going to tell the story? I think that when you take data and you wrap it in love, that's the pill that the people take. It's almost like your dog. You put the pill in peanut butter, then they eat the peanut butter. They ain't eating the pill. And the pill is the data.
Right.
Because the data, if I tell you, how many times has your parents told you this will work and you have the data, but you're like, I ain't doing that. And then you have your own personal experience with it. Maybe it happens to your daughter. And you were told to use this modality for years and years and years, and now your daughter is suffering from X, and Y will solve it. And it's a modality. Now you have the data, but the love part of it, of the love for your daughter, now you're going to have her do it, and then you see the results, and now you have data that's wrapped all in love. Does that make sense?
It does. It sounds like a book in itself.
Yeah. And I think about, but when I think about this, a lot of times people go into it heavily emotional. I've never heard it the way that you said it. They go so heavily emotional into an idea. And we see this a lot of times with some of the groups that we hang out with, right? And we see like a men's group and the person is like, I'm so passionate about blah, 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 blah. I'm going to change the world. Is Ron Blackburn sitting in the back of the room? Because you're never the guy speaking the most. Are you sitting in the back running it through a pressure test in your mind quickly, and spitting it back out to yourself? Not that you're judging someone, but are you doing this?
I am observing
You are.
all the above because some of them are so passionate that it makes me think, of course, am I not passionate enough about what I want to be talking about? And then other times I'll look at them and go, I've seen that passion and tried to fuel it to convince others of an idea that I haven't fully pressure tested. And that's what I see more often.
Could you imagine the pressure test book? Like if you had, when I say a book, right? So it had 3 layers, right? Is it financially viable? Do you actually love it? Is it scalable to be able to get you to a point where you can, automate processes and it free you back to be able to give you your time?
I don't know if it's a book because a book would be almost limiting because the questions you just asked are 3 prompts that will answer specifically to you. And the more answers you give, the more specific it's going to be to you. And any generalized book might be disservice with the tools we have today.
I think it would be an experience with you, like an experience with you that would, obviously time with you is not going to be what you talked about earlier. It's not going to be a 5 days for what you said. It would be a hell of a lot more.
Well, I do see where you're going because a guided prompt session would be kind of fun because nobody wants to talk about themselves and the things they do. But if I'm sitting across from you, I'm like, come on, tell me what you do. What's your problem? And I'm putting it all in there, typing it in. You tell me what your obstacles are. I say, no, he's good at this. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And we write the prompt for each other. You kind of get more out of it when somebody else is guiding you through versus your own. But maybe not. I don't know.
But just the pressure test part of it is, it's very, very, very eye-opening, to be able to look at. Sobering. There's people right now that's like, he's not talking to me. And if you have that in your brain, we're talking to you. You're talking to me right now. I'm thinking of things in my life right now, Ron. Thanks for judging me across the table. I'm just kidding with you, man.
But I know, but how do you...
But that's
what we're told, that the ones that made it are the ones that didn't listen and went for it. But at the same time, it's got to be tested, and passion is enough. And if they have been pressure tested, then I agree you should go for it and not stop if you have a plan.
With AI tools now, we have a plan. We can quickly decide yes or no on things that we couldn't do before.
What about Ron, though, at 13 years old? He didn't have a plan.
Yeah.
Worked out pretty damn good.
Yeah.
You didn't have a plan when you called your dad at 411 at 3 o'clock in the morning, Ron.
No. Yeah.
Worked out pretty damn good.
Everything was worked out great. Yeah.
And I'm not for one or the other, but when I look at it, like you were saying, you know, we hear maybe it's this that we're hearing a part of the story when, you know, a person had an idea, they were passionate about this, and everyone told them that they should give up, and they didn't give up, and then, you know, bang, they changed the world. And it's like, okay, that sounds awesome, but we didn't look inside, right? We didn't look in the interior of it or understand some of the details, say like Elon, right? So reading his book, it was interesting to know that, you know, Google was in due diligence to buy Tesla. I don't know, did you read his book?
No.
So
yeah.
they were in due diligence. And they were down to, it was almost 2 weeks away to where Google was going to buy Tesla, and they were just going to shelf it. And he went to a sales team. At first, they were doing it, all this stuff. He went to a sales team and said, "Hey guys, look, we have I think it was 2 weeks or 2 months." He was just about to move back in with his mother-in-law's or his wife's mother, which is mother-in-law. They were going to move back in. They were going to have nothing. And he went to a sales staff and said, "Hey, we've got either the 2 weeks or the 2 months. You can check the facts on that." And he said, "So we've got to sell." And that's when they came out with the $5,000 deposit for the Model S, and they raised enough money to be able to keep the company. And if not, that Google would have bought it, shelved it, because the electric car wouldn't have come into play.
Right.
Right? But in not reading the book is really thick too. So it's it's like the damn Bible, really, seriously, it's huge. But in me not reading those things, I would have just thought, here's a guy, loved what he did, everyone told him not to, and everything worked out. But when you look at it, there was a pressure test there.
Yeah.
Right?
He did test it, yeah.
And then to realize when he first started off, why he did what he did, when I read his book, I was blown away at this, like the purpose of it. Did you know what it was? The only reason why he started SpaceX, why he started Tesla, why he did all those things.
I don't think so.
To populate Mars.
Oh.
That's the only reason. It wasn't to, you know, help energy on Earth and change fossil fuel and do all this. Nothing. It was to populate Mars, which is the craziest damn idea on the planet to start all these companies. His reason why was signature to him. He believed in it, came up against opposition, continued on.
And one of my favorites quote, I think it's C.W. Lewis, says, "The plains of hesitation, on the plains of hesitation bleached the bones of countless millions who upon the dawn of victory sat to rest or wait, and waiting they died." So often we push right up to that final end, but the thing is, how do we know? Do we push one more step or 1,000 more steps, right? So I don't know.
Well, can you come up with that answer, Ron? And then that way we'll just sell that, just that one step. It'll just be called a one-step process.
When you think you're done, there's one more to go.
Yeah, just one. But then we'll just have an evaluation process. No, you shouldn't take that step. No, you should take the step. Yeah. And I can see it just in a line, just throwing people left, right, left, right.
How many steps? I remember Muhammad Ali, somebody asked him how many sit-ups he does. He says, "I don't know. I don't start counting until I think I can't do one more." So...
And we have all these stories of these kind of things.
Right.
And then you throw the wrench in the game.
Yeah, and I don't want to throw that out to everybody in the world, but I pressure test my situation, and I have to decide where the energy should go. Okay. And put it this way, there's more viable options than the one I pressure tested, possibly. So.
When's the one like that you've pressure tested, maybe in the last year or two or whatever it was, that you pressure tested that you really, really loved and you struggled with letting go of, because once you pressure test it, you knew it wasn't the right thing, but maybe you held on for a little bit longer than you should?
I'm actively in that right now, and I don't want to be honest, discuss it with you until maybe next year.
Okay.
How's that?
All right.
We'll put a pin in that one.
We'll put a pin in that one, and then you'll come back.
Even when you pressure test, I keep going back to it thinking there's something. So we'll see.
Is one of the pressure tests that, like, there's things, say when I started in the professional beauty industry years ago, like if I was mowing lawns I would get tired. When I started in the professional beauty industry, I didn't get tired.
Mm-hmm.
When I started in this space, the podcasting space, 6 years ago, when you and I first started, and I've been begging you every day, Ron, to be on the podcast. It took Cardenas Legacy Tequila to get you on the podcast, is what it is.
Oh, thank you for that. Yeah.
Yes. I remember when I first started off with it, like 6 years ago, podcasting wasn't what it is today. And still, I just still think that it's the Wild West. It really is.
I agree. Yeah. It's changed a lot, but it's still early days.
It's very, and there's so much opportunity in it. And with us, we created the live version of it. And I mean, and still, like, I guess I'm still pressure testing it, but I don't get tired with this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
But I think the pressure test is really you accept where it is regardless of your expectations of where you want it to go. If you have expectations of it scaling, better pressure test the test that it's not, and are you okay with where it could be? That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that way, because this one that you're not going to tell us about until you said, how long are you going to pressure test this one for?
See, next year maybe sometime.
A year, 12 months?
Yeah.
So 12 months, you've got it in there.
12 months. If we promise, we'll have a conversation.
Does it need to, you don't have to tell me what it is. Does it have to become financially viable?
Well, if you're going to get something to touch everyone that along on its path, the person pushing it along should get some equitable stake in that.
Okay.
Whatever that might be.
Makes sense.
Versus just a service business, which a service business is fine. Provide a service, get a price. But if you provide a service and other people provide the service and it becomes scalable on intellectual property and some things like that, that's what I would be interested in if possible. But sometimes it's not there.
Okay. So what you were talking about, again, the comparison, what it sounded like was more of a SaaS type of scenario. And I'm not saying that it has to do with software,
Sure.
but it's in that realm as opposed to I'm the service provider. I charge a price. I get this.
Or more importantly, yeah, you might have had an expectation in that, and maybe it's not that. Maybe it becomes something that offers really good value, but it may not be everything you thought it could be.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough when you do jump into things that are globally life-changing, right?
Yeah.
So you automatically think the reward should be accordingly. But it may not even happen in your lifetime. But you make enough little grasp in a direction to see things happen, and that feels good too.
That's the tough one, because a lot of times, you've heard it, and I'm going to bastardize the saying, but a lot of times the first one to the party is not the one that gets the spoils.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the tough thing. Like you look at, say, I look at music, right? So if you look at music, I'm a big hip hop fan. I grew up a hip hop fan, but the pioneers of hip hop, most of them didn't reap any of the benefits of now the kid that's got, a microphone and a computer is reaping the benefits of what the foundation was laid by this person.
Yep.
Are you okay with laying the foundation for future generations that you would never know touched it? Or when you're pressure testing, are you like, well, nah, I got to get a little something on that?
Well, you would like the prior. I mean, the first, but
All right.
you got to be okay with it, right? Because I would be okay no matter what.
Is there
100% okay.
Is there a Mother Teresa answer for Ron, and then a real Ron, like a Ron of being like, a Mother Teresa being like, no, I just want the universe to be a better place. And then is there another Ron that's like, they better come to the table?
Well, you want to take care of your certain responsibilities for your efforts.
I love how you put it, Ron. Everything sounds great. Seriously, that's why you're the international man of mystery, is what it is.
I'm just saying that we have a responsibility to those we care about and ourselves, more importantly, that where we want to put our energy and what that reward should come out of it.
Yeah.
And there's no right or wrong other than it should be up to us. And if you want a piece of everything out there, or if you want just to give back to that, I want to do all those. But I still have to have certain things that balance out energy-wise.
What are you willing to concede when those things happen? Because say one of my friends, he has they start off with a concept. It's a phenomenal concept, one of the best in the industry. They started out, they wanted to create a great timely haircut in a sports environment for men and for boys. Very simple. Boom. They started off with that concept, started to grow. I mean, company now has over 1,800 locations throughout Canada and America. Absolutely phenomenal. Although there has to be some concessions, because once you get to 1,800 locations, not everything's going the way that you wanted it to be.
Yeah.
You have to concede. Like, oh yeah, I've got 1,800, maybe not every single service that walks out of one of those places is exactly the way that I thought it was going to be when I started. Although when you had 2, you were able to control that.
Right.
As you grow something, what are the things that you already make the decision in your head that you're willing to concede, and what is the non-negotiable?
Yeah, I've come to terms early on building the houses when I had the punch list that I don't want to go back to. That if I did it myself, I could get it done cheaper and faster, but I wouldn't be able to grow. So I think the minute you start growing, you have to realize there's going to be inefficiencies in place, and it hopefully doesn't hit your brand integrity, and that you can maintain that, although the efficiency and the amount of money you make per unit will be less, right? But if you don't scale and don't step away, then you're trapped in your own prison of your own making, which is your own job.
What are the non-negotiables for you? So with us, when we built our company, there was only 4. Number 1, show up on time. Number 2, wear black. Number 3, smile. And number 4, empty the dustpan. Because no one should have to deal with your garbage before they deal with their own. It was simple.
Yeah.
As long as we stayed inside those, for me, those 4, show up on time, respect of your time and your team's time and the guest time. Yeah. Wear black. All of us are one unit and a team together. Smile, because happy people make more than sad people. And empty the dustpan, because no one should have to deal with your garbage before they deal with their own. As long as it functions inside that, as we scale, I'm completely okay with some of the details being okay. For you, Ron Blackburn, when you're dealing, whether it be construction, with your book, with the modalities, with your inventions, what are those principles that you're like, I'm okay with variances, but inside these, whether it be 3, 4, or how many ever you want, I'm not cool with those going away. Because if so, I've got to scale it back.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out which company to apply it to, which domain.
Is there a Ron Blackburn? Like when you look at Ron Blackburn because I think of you as, okay, this is a cool thing, and this doesn't happen with very many people. When you and I played pool, and I don't even know who won. I mean, I would think that I won, but I mean, let's just move on from that.
I assumed I won. See, we got to check those assumptions.
Yeah, so
pressure test.
I think that pressure testing it has told me that I probably won. But when I met you and I connected with you, there was so much of a difference. You asked so many more questions than anyone ever in the environment that we both met in. Because most of the time, a lot of the people, a majority of the people were coming in with something that they wanted to make sure that I knew about. You were exactly opposite. And it's one of the reasons, and I haven't got a chance to be able to tell you this, but it's one of the things that why I wanted to have the conversations with you that I did, why I wanted to run things by you, or in a sense, in your words, pressure test with you something, because the way in which you connected and the curiosity that you had. After I left that time, and it wasn't much time that we got spent together, me beating you in pool, it was just me taking the victory. I mean, it was by a landslide too. I think that there was probably I think I was solids, and there was no solids on the table, and there was all stripes. I mean, but that's just petty stuff. I wouldn't even worry about those kind of things. It's just details. But I walked away from that with the feeling that if you came to me and said, I'm doing X business, I'd be like, it must be a phenomenal business. And then if you came to me with another one, I would be like, it must be a phenomenal business, because of the brand that I learned of Ron Blackburn. Yeah. So in Ron Blackburn's life, what are those things that you say, I'm not willing to, like, we can negotiate on a bunch of stuff, but I don't negotiate on these.
I think trust. It would just be trust. I need to trust you. You need to trust me. I'm going to ask for every detail. I want to be authentic and transparent. We're going to make sure that we both aren't assuming anything, and we test everything. And that would just be the simplest thing, right back to the build trust.
Yeah. Is there stages to building the trust?
Yeah, I think you know how you're friends with a lot of people, but then if you go out and spend one night hanging with them or drinking or doing a podcast like we are now, you become deeper. So trust become deeper and deeper and deeper. And I always say that on one hand, less than one hand, I have people that you can call to get you out of a Turkish prison if you need to in 24 hours. You know, there's those people that will do whatever it can.
Yeah.
But I think I could call you at some point.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to Turkey, but it's funny because you said that. My buddy Craig, have you met Craig?
Craig who?
Craig Gottlieb. He was the history hunter. Well, he is the history hunter. He's the.
I don't think so.
He was on Pawn Stars for years. It's just an unbelievable guy. He told me when
I think I met him at Secret Knock, but
yes,
I don't know him.
When we connected, he told and then we started to get a deeper friendship. He pulled me aside and he looked at me and he's like, "If you call me at 2:00 in the morning and I need to be under a bridge with a shotgun, there's no question."
Yeah.
And I was like, and we were in a different environment. Like, I think we were in a men's group or something like that. And he pulled me in and said that. And I was like, this is a little weird, but now I understand.
Yeah.
It's the Turkish prison thing.
And you know how you can connect with certain people exponentially faster than people that maybe you've known for 20 years?
Yeah.
That seems to happen faster and faster, I think, as we get more connected to the people that we want to be, that we identify with. You know, it becomes quick. Within 5 minutes, you can go, I got to talk to this person, or I need to pretend like I'm going to the bathroom because I got to dismiss myself and go someplace else.
Why do you think that is?
I think maybe we're more in tune to the energy and the feeling, you know, of that person. And if we're on board with them, I don't know, similar vibration, I don't know. We can measure it, but I'd have to set up a study for it, but we could do it.
Well, it's interesting that you say it because there's an old proverb that my pops used to say to me all the time. And he would say it went trust and then lean, submit, and then things will become straight.
Trust,
lean, submit, and everything will become straight. And so when I looked at this, right, now, when we do the context, when I just say those words, you could be like, well, there's times where if I trust in something, right, I said, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not to your own understanding, but in submit your ways to Him, and He will make your path straight. So trust, lean, submit, right? Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not to your own understanding. Submit to Him in all your ways, and He will make your path straight. And he used to say this all the time.
Sounds like the formula of the modalities when they finally submit. You have to trust first. You have to lean in. Boom. And when that happens, it's like walking on the floor that's not there, but you have to trust it's there.
Well, what was wild one day is I went backwards with it. Right? This is the ADHD brain. I have been, right? So I went backwards with it. Okay. So if your path isn't straight, you haven't submitted. If you haven't submitted, you haven't leaned. And there's no way you can lean on something unless you trust it.
I like it.
Right?
Yeah.
And so as it runs down, like, you know, going through your whole part of it, that trust allows you to free up and lean. You do a trust fall, you're not doing a trust fall with someone or leaning onto someone unless you have the trust in the first place. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there's so many examples, and for some reason the one that comes to mind, which might not be a perfect example, but you notice how reality changes around you as your perception changes. I mean, can literally physically change. And the first time I saw this happening was years ago. I was at a car wash, and a guy came out. And you know how you sit on a little bench waiting for your cars to come out, and they watch them clean and dry, and this is what he puts the rag up in the air. I'm sitting next to this gentleman who was there before me, and he was a big guy, 500 pounds, not attractive, kind of a hideous-looking human being at my first sight walking by. And I sit down, and we're sitting there, and you start making a small talk, and then we're talking, and then all of a sudden it became so interesting to me. We just connected. I don't know how. We're 5 minutes at the car wash to where, like, his jawline changed, his bigness all of a sudden looked like a little bit more just physically fit and charismatic. And I'm like, I was aware of myself feeling this and watching myself change, which was kind of cool. And I was just enjoying that perception chain in real time. And we all have, like, How the Show, you know, they change in your mind the way you see them. And I find that really interesting. I'm not sure how we got there, but
No, I thought of the shallow how, like when you were saying that, I was thinking the shallow how when,
Right.
when the really old leathery woman was smoking a cigarette.
yeah,
And then the reality was it was a beautiful woman, but she had a dark soul.
right.
Right. And
Right.
which is wild. Help me with this, with just in the financial part.
Okay.
Because sometimes people see their life in a certain way, therefore their reality and all their experiences become, well, let's call it limited about the financial part.
Yeah,
You
it's
and-
hard to perceive the reality when you're in it. Like
Yes.
that. Yeah, for sure.
So you and I are sitting across from each other. You're breathing the same air that I'm breathing. We drink the same water. We eat the same food. And sometimes you could be across the table for someone, or you could be in a room with someone and they're sitting and experiencing a different financial scenario than you are, although you're on the same exact planet. And so when you were talking about that, sitting at the car wash, here's the guy, 500 pounds. You end up having a conversation with him. You see him completely different. Help me with that, with the financial side or money. Because sometimes people see money as the 500-pound dude that's nasty and I want to stay away from it, or it's evil or whatever it is. And then there's the people that don't see it that way and have a different result in their life.
Yeah, I think it's a good lesson that we don't know. Somebody doesn't have any money. Somebody does have money. We put them on these different pedestals. And how often have we seen the guy who was working at the video store who's now Tarantino and he's making movies, you know, and he was a nut job then, he's a nut job now, but he's making a lot of money and he's successful. We don't know. And I think if we treat everyone with that kindness and understanding, I'm going to flash back to this video game of the 90s, and it was called Dragon's Lair, and you had to get to the bottom of it. But along the way, you would have to find a certain question, and you're only looking for, as we all do, the question to your answer you're asking now. We're not listening, and we don't care about anybody else's question. And one of this guy I kept running into was, I'd say, hey, do you know where the golden lock is for that? He goes, we only have tomatoes. That was his comment. Every time, we only have tomatoes. We get to the bottom of this Dragon's Lair thing, it's like, you need a tomato. And it's like, should have got a tomato from that guy. But so many different people that offer these things that we discard as garbage we don't need now. It's like, it's all gold, I think. We just have to decipher when we need it, you know?
Yeah. So, Ron, I started the podcast because of my two kids. I think you've met Maddox.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
So, but Maddox, into sports. Now he's into editing and like film editing, things like that, which I think is kind of cool. I've been trying to get him to come over and executive produce the podcast. And
Nice.
But I'm dad, you know what I'm saying? So nothing like, I
Cool.
want him to do that and get him moving on it, you know, but he's got to love it and he's got to enjoy it and those kind of things. But the sports side, he's got the creative side and then my daughter is in the arts. So like singing, dancing. Now she's loving the marketing part, like the fashion marketing part. So in the creative side. So she's loving all those areas. When I started because of those two, and I didn't want them to worship idols. I just wanted them to be inspired by iconic people like yourself. Like I didn't want them to worship a person. I just wanted them to look at you and say, oh, wow, maybe Uncle Ron said a couple things that was awesome. He's doing some amazing things. This can really inspire me on my journey, right? And so what advice would you have for Maddox and McKenna? And if you could use both their names, it would be awesome.
Ages again?
14 and 17. 14 boy, 17 girl.
It's tough because we just talked about don't give up on your dreams. But I would say,
Should you pressure test at a young age?
well, I think so, because even the pressure testing I'm talking about, I don't know if it's fully pressure tested. So I think doing something they like, right, would be step one, that they enjoy. Although you hear so much talk on don't do something you like, make money elsewhere, and then do the things you like on the weekends, you know. So I don't know. What do they like to do, and what's their work ethic like? And what do they want to accomplish? I think that start there.
Do you get tired doing construction?
Physically tired? I like the creative process of it. I think my energy is better suited for other things that I want to pursue now. Even when you're building a house, there's all kinds of things that can pull you in different directions down the line. Liabilities, California law, the difficulty of doing the things which were much easier in construction earlier. I think if I was to continue building, I'd rather just build a spec, every now and then and sell it someplace. But I always have building, which is great. And if you're going to own a home, you can always fix anything in your home. So I think it's a talent that everybody should learn a basic of, and then you don't become overwhelmed. But other than that, I think I'll do construction for as long as it serves me and as long as I enjoy working with the people I do, which I always do, or I don't work with them. So, yeah, we'll see what takes us.
Buying land, building your own home, buying something with good bones, and remodeling it.
How much time are you willing to put into the latter or money?
Okay.
My rule is I will always buy the biggest piece of junk I can on the most valuable street I can find with the biggest delta in between, and I can't go wrong. Because everything inside we know we can fix, or you can find a good contractor, tell them what your budget is, tell them what you want to do, and you get that fixed. And then you're not going to go wrong because day one you're going to enter the situation with equity. You can refinance whatever you just put into it if you pick the right house and put it within that budget, get your money out, and you're okay. You're safe for a while. But buying on the top end of the market, it's nice, it's easier, it's convenient. You don't have time to do repairs when you get home on the weekend. But you couldn't turn around tomorrow and sell it and get any money back out of it. The first scenario you can, if you had to.
The buying land and building the house on it from scratch.
That's great. It's going to take a little bit more time. There's pros and cons of that, but it always is going to depend on when you want to sell it and what the market's going for when you want to sell it in that time. I mean, you can go out real far east and maybe get a piece of land for $5,000 and turn around and put something on and sell it. But how much can it sell for that day completed? And if it works out, then you just work backwards on the market and the costs and put that all together.
Do you think that we're going to have see an adjustment here in California with real estate?
As far as going up or down or
Either.
one way or the other? I don't know, to be honest. It feels like I think with the same administration, I think we're going to see more growth, but there's a lot of people worrying and instability in the area at the same time. So I don't know. It's not really my forte to predict those industries other than just where I'm at now.
With your business, which one impacts you the most as far as like in a positive way? Is it when the market is, I mean, we have very little inventory still. Am I correct?
Yes.
Little inventory, high prices right now. We're in a place where probably one of the, I mean, I don't believe that we've ever seen the type of scenarios that we do where we have super high equity, super low interest rates, and generally, you know, the 5 Ds that cause people to transfer out of or sell. It's the divorce, the distress, or there's a couple other Ds inside there. But we're at a place right now where even if a person, say, lost their job, they've got enough equity to be able to hold themselves, and they've got an interest rate that is so the person with that is holding for. We've never seen this ever, right? Is there scenarios in the market that are more advantageous for you in construction?
Nothing more than the obvious I just said is finding the best value with the best potential on the back end within the time you want to sell it, which is really just all spec building is, right? I'm going to buy it now. What's it going to be worth in 5 years?
Okay.
What I like about the remodel situation, though, is if you can buy something in a distressed market on a valuable street, you're not waiting the 5 years. You can go, okay, I can flip this in 3 months. And if that's something you have room to do, then that's always an exciting thing to have happen. And it's easier to do than you would think.
We haven't experienced a distressed market in a while, though. Yeah. Are you talking about a distressed area? Distressed area.
Classic thing. You got a house, top house on the streets, $1.5 million. You got the house with all the weeds and that hasn't been painted for a while, going for $792,000.
Got it.
So you come in, you put in 100 into it, see if you can sell it for $1.1 million. You know, things like that. Or you hang on to it knowing that we're in the market and you're going to live in it for 10 years and things are going to go up. But I don't know. It's hard to say. I bought a house in Solana Beach. 10 years later was a certain price. Then I got to accept for what I put into it. And I realized that I had to put what in I was going to get into it to get out, which I did. But then there's the people that bought a house for $10,000 and it's worth $2 million. So
I want to find that guy. I want to find that guy.
It seems to be the longer you hang on to it, like anything else, the longer it's going to work. Right?
But
Same with stocks.
that's I would say that is your assignment for this, for the next little bit. Is I need to find one that is $10,000 in California.
Oh, California. I was going to give you a lot right now in the Midwest.
I'm not. Yeah, exactly. Probably in Detroit. You would give me some in Detroit right now, right?
It's funny. My brother's mother-in-law, she has at least, I think, 5 or 6 houses in Oklahoma. She picks them up for 15, 20 grand a piece, 4-bedroom houses,
Really?
just to store her antiques because she's an antique collector.
Yeah.
But they're run-down houses. But if you wanted a house, you can live in the Midwest, you know, pretty affordably.
Yeah.
You had some hands-on knowledge and went in and fixed some things. Yeah, it's crazy.
If you're going to remodel, what's the what would be the
Lowest dollar you can put in to make the biggest difference.
No, I would like that one too. So you got to give me that one.
Caulk and paint, make it 1 and 8.
What's that?
Caulk and paint, make it 1 and 8.
Wow.
That'll do it. That'll make it look brand new.
But if a person is going in to remodel, what is the thing that they need to be the most aware of?
Oh, it's like red flags to look out for.
Yeah, like right off the bat, like, you know, it's pressure test. Let's pressure test that. Yeah, I want to remodel. What's the first thing you look at?
For me, it's not. In fact, when I was looking at house 4, I would just be like, I don't care if I have to gut the whole thing, so it doesn't matter. But I guess you just realize there's going to be costs associated to whatever you find. If it's plumbing and you got to redo the plumbing, there's going to be a cost for that. And I have no personal red flags. I prefer that I walk in and there's a gaping crack in the concrete that's 1.5 inches wide, because everybody freaks out about it being a foundation problem, but the fix is filling it with epoxy. That's literally the structural fix. They're not going to dig it all up and re-pour the foundation. At worst case, if it was huge, they'd drill some rebar on each side and tie it together. But all those overwhelmingly looking fixes make it much easier for you to buy.
Okay.
If you got a big sagging garage door, the roof's falling in, it's just easy to fix that stuff.
I love how, like, when I get it, that's why I love to spend time with masters of their craft, because to you, it's very simple.
Yeah.
Right?
Whatever long suit you have, that's where it's your easiest. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
I like the sayings that you have. Would you say the caulk and paint?
Make it 1 and 8.
Make it what it ain't. That's gonna be the name of the episode.
We've been all over the place on this for sure.
I appreciate it, man. Please don't make it 6 years again until we get a chance to spend time together.
I promise. She said, why don't we come back in a year from now?
No, we got to come back before then.
Oh, you say the word.
But I'm going to still ask you about that pressure test that you're doing, and you're going to tell me that you aren't going to be able to tell me for another 6 months.
I'll tell you off air.
Okay.
How's that?
I know. I can't wait. That's why we're going to end the episode, is because I'm like, inquiring minds want to know.
All right.
That's what it is, man.
Sounds
You're
good.
officially off the hot seat, baby. Chris Cardenas, I want to thank you so much for Cardenas Legacy Tequila, buddy. Peace.
It's the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small rooms into launch pads.